Jays, game 2 of this series. In the middle of it all, let's go down on the field to Coley Harvey.
Dave, the central question to this game is how will the Blue Jays respond after yesterday's loss? And I can tell you, they believe the response is going to be a lot like what it was throughout the past month of the season. Within that month, the Blue Jays won 22 games, and according to manager John Schneider, they grew a lot closer together as a team. Earlier this morning, I asked Schneider just exactly what kind of impact that can have on this team, and he said it can have a big impact, a huge impact on this particular game, particularly because of the encouraging conversations he had with his players following last night's loss. He said he felt like those conversations were a lot like those he had all throughout the month of September. His players were not playing as if they were afraid of losing. He feels like they will play even more fearlessly today.
All right, Coley, thanks very much. They look loose as they take the field. Here's the starting lineup for the Mariners. A couple little tweaks for Scott Service. Julio Rodriguez in that leadoff spot. Ty France Suarez at third, hitting third. Cal Raleigh, the catcher and cleanup hitter. Haniger, Adam Frazier moves up in the lineup. He bats sixth. The DH, Carlos Santana, Kelnick, and J.P. Crawford, the ninth place hitter, against the Blue Jays right-hander Kevin Gausman.
And we're going to see a lot of strikes from Kevin Gausman tonight. 70.2% strike rate. That's the highest rate in the major leagues. And this season, he had 7.3 strikeouts to walks. That's the greatest ratio in the history of any Toronto Blue Jay pitcher.
And by the way, they've had a lot of great pitchers in their history.
Oh, my goodness. Roy Halladay included.
So Kevin Gausman to make his second career playoff start. He made one last year for the Giants against the Dodgers in that fraught and emotional division series. Trying to keep the Blue Jays' hopes of getting to the division series alive here today. And trying to keep this great crowd into it. The Mariners took the crowd out of the game yesterday so quickly with a 3-run top of the first. So here we go. Gausman against Rodriguez. First pitch of the ball game is just a little bit low. Todd Titchener, our home plate umpire for game 2.
And he has a very tight strike zone, unlike yesterday. So should be an interesting game for both pitchers.
Evidence of it on the first pitch of the game. Rodriguez swings, and it's a high drive to right field. Hernandez has room in front of the warning track for out number 1.
Keep an eye on Gausman's fastball location in this one. You know, coming in, the biggest plan for the Mariners is anything low to lay off of because of that splitter. And so what Kevin Gausman has done to adjust to a lot of teams doing that is to locate that four-seam fastball at the bottom of the zone to get more strikes and also get guys to start swinging at his best pitch, the splitter.
So now Ty France, first baseman, second place hitter for the Mariners. And he swings at the first pitch on the ground, and it's kicked by Espinal, who has not played in a game in about 2.5 weeks, off the injured list for this series. And the first chance he has, he's a very good defensive player. He doesn't handle it.
Always works that way. You wonder, how am I going to do after a little time off? And he gets a hard hit ball on the first ball hit to him.
One of the more tougher spots to field because you have the infield dirt going into the turf. He's right there on that line, but honestly just kicks it off. A play that he knows he can make.
And look, the Blue Jays took a calculated risk. He didn't have a chance to play in any game action as the regular season came to an end. They got him some simulated work, some live at bats, some live BP against their taxi squad, but he hasn't played in a while. First pitch swing for Suarez. Mariners being very aggressive in this first inning against Gausman. A foul ball.
Right. At 4 pitches, 3 strikes. This is Kevin Gausman. Keep in mind, he struck out 44 batters this year before he walked anybody. Think about that. That's almost impossible to do. That's how dominant he was, especially early in the season.
Just an incredible strikeout to walk ratio for Gausman. The raw numbers: 205 strikeouts, 28 walks for the season. Well off the outside.
And your boy Kurt Casale of the Mariners told me you have to look up in the strike zone, which is what you're just saying. He says that way you might not chase the splitter down. If he throws a heater down at 95 and paints, you just tip your cap, but you have to look up.
1-1 to Suarez, who had a nice game yesterday. He swings so hard his helmet flies off.
Good look at that splitter. Check out the grip. He throws it as a 2-seam, which is really unusual for that pitch. Most guys throw the splitter with the 4-seam. Almost like a variation of a circle change, the way that he grips that.
Gosman's 1-2 in the dirt with the splitter. Danny Jansen, who is the catcher today, with a nice block.
So Ross Stripling told me he's never seen anybody throw the split with the same grip that Gosman does, and that's why it is so good. He's got that, his thumb pinched up against his index finger. It's a different grip, and that allows him to throw a really, really good split.
And over the years, it has caused some issues with blisters. He says he's fine, but he had a blister issue late in the regular season. We'll have to keep a close eye on that today. And he got Suarez with just a nasty splitter, 2 down.
And Dave, because of the blister issues, he does not throw his splitter in between starts, meaning his best pitch, he doesn't even practice it because he doesn't want to irritate or possibly get a blister. That's unbelievable that he doesn't practice it. Stripling said, if I didn't practice my changeup in between starts, it would take me 2 innings to find it during the game.
It's taken 8 pitches, and Gosman's got his very best splitter here today. So 2 down. Ty France, who reached on the errors at first base, and now Cal Raleigh, who has just been extraordinary for the Mariners in these big moments. Switch hitting catcher with a lot of power. Strike 1.
Every first pitch has been a fastball, and you talked about the aggressiveness. That's part of the game plan. I mean, Cal Raleigh took that one. It was a fastball away. He likes middle in. But I think a big part of the game plan, not only seeing the ball up, but jumping on Gosman in the fastball early. Because as he gets ahead in the count, that's when you start to see this pitch you don't want to swing at.
Did a 2-run homer in the first inning yesterday. And really from there, the Mariners controlled the game. And a lot of that was their starting pitcher, Luis Castillo. But they put a 3 spot on the board before the Blue Jays even had an at-bat. Raleigh, who very famously hit the walk-off home run in the game that clinched the first postseason berth for the Mariners in 21 years. Takes that one, and it's just a little bit high, maybe.
And yesterday, Cal Raleigh became the first catcher in Major League history to catch a shutout in his first game in the postseason ever. How cool is that? So he gets to play, it's a homer, and catches the shutout.
And I'm glad you said that, because he's got a lot of power, and he's known for his power, his home run hitting, but he's an excellent defensive catcher, game caller, receiver. Takes that one in there, 2-2.
You have to take a guess. You have to look for one or the other. You can't look for the split and get to 95. And if you're looking for 95, you're going to chase the split.
I don't know that we ever saw this yesterday. The offense for the Mariners happened so fast. Blue Jays fans are into it. The 2-2.
It's a great take with 2 strikes. And this crowd, Dave, you're just talking about it. I mean, you can feel the adrenaline. And for Cal Raleigh to be able to spit on a pitch that really is a tough, but that's honestly why I think he took the fastball down in the zone. He is trying to be disciplined to find something up.
It's so amusing when people say, well, just lay off the split. Well, it's not very easy to do that.
Ty France can get the head start from first base. He goes. Raleigh takes inside, ball 4. So something that really, truly almost never happened in the regular season. Kevin Gausman issues the walk. He averaged fewer than a walk per game started.
Yeah.
That's how much of a strike thrower he has been. But now the Mariners have 2 on, and both. One by an error, one from the walk. Cal Raleigh earned that one, but no hits yet, and a scoring opportunity for the Mariners right away. For Mitch Haniger, who I thought had some good swings yesterday. Getting healthy, had a great finish to the regular season. 2 on, 2 out. Haniger takes ball one for the first pitch fastball, and it's low.
And we said it yesterday, but the Mariners hit .230 as a team. But the way they win is they walk more than almost anyone. They hit the ball out of the ballpark. Only one other team has hit .230 in baseball history and made the playoffs. That was the White Sox in 1906. They hit 7 homers, hit .230, and won the World Series.
Mariners, meanwhile, hit almost 200 home runs this year. There's a strike to Haniger. It's 1-1.
Gosh, if he can keep locating that fastball down in the zone. I know you talked about, Tim, you could tip your cap, but if he can continue to locate that pitch, the splitter is going to be that much better. And I don't think these Mariners hitters are going to want to swing. Perfect location.
Just feels so important for the Blue Jays to get through this top of the first inning. And the Mariners, the counterpoint, if they could jump ahead, the 1-1. Haniger right over top the splitter. 1-2.
So now Mitch Haniger's seen the split, he's seen the heater, and now he's got to guess which one's coming.
The 1-2. He took the splitter in the dirt, blocked by Jansen. So far, I think you'd have to say that the Mariners offense, I know it's only a few hitters into the game, doing a pretty good job.
Well, he's at 18 pitches already. You make him work early.
Take it if it's down. That's the game plan for Seattle. 2-2. Long look to second base. Haniger strikes out swinging on the splitter. So Gausman, a couple of base runners, no runs. Now the Blue Jays come up in the bottom of the first.
As electric.
Toronto and their powerful offense looking to get it going in game 2 will come up in the bottom of the first. George Springer, who is such a dynamic leadoff hitter and postseason performer. 22 multi-hit games in his postseason career. Bichette, Guerrero, Kirk the DH, Hernandez, Chapman, Danny Jansen, the catcher. Whit Merrifield moves to left field. We saw Espinal in the field. He's at second base. And the 9th place hitter, and facing an old teammate, Robbie Ray, won the Cy Young Award in this ballpark in a Blue Jays uniform just last season.
We talked yesterday about how excited he was to do this. He loves playing in front of this crowd. He knows they're not going to be continuing to cheer for him. But you look at the numbers, they aren't the same as his Cy Young season last year. A big change that he did make about midway through when he was struggling is throwing that sinker more. So he's going to have 2 fastballs, a great slider off of it, and a huge start first of his postseason form.
So Robbie Ray, the left-hander, first pitch, and George Springer was not going to just take. He swung at the low fastball for strike 1.
And that's at 95. And again, this is what one of the Mariners told me. If he pitches up in the zone at 95, he's got a really good chance. That was down in the zone. But with him, his delivery is so deceptive. He hides it so well. The difference between 93 and 96 is an enormous difference. His velocity has been down recently. If it's up today, he's in good shape.
Saw the good hard slider for strike 2. So Springer behind 0-2, and he strikes out swinging. Got him with another slider. So that's a good start for the former Blue Jay. Springer goes down.
Tell you what, I like the pace, but how about 1, 2, 3 straight to George Springer? We know he's aggressive, but coming right after him, first the fastball, and you saw 2 consecutive sliders, pretty much same location, right into the hands of George Springer.
There's just a little grimace there from Springer. I mean, it's fair to wonder. He says he's okay. They took x-rays, got hit on the wrist, hand area in yesterday's game. Bichette slashes at that first pitch and fouls it off.
He told John Schneider, I'll play tomorrow. And John said, I know you'll play tomorrow, because that's who George Springer is.
All right, how about our StatCast powered by Google Cloud? Both of you have talked about how hot Bo Bichette has been since September 1st and spraying the ball all over the ballpark.
He's got 10 more hits than anyone in the major leagues since September the 1st. Right field, left field, center field, everywhere with power.
.406 batting average since the 1st of September. Led the league in hits this year, just like he did last year. 0-2 on the ground, but foul.
Six pitches, all strikes so far for Robbie Ray. A very good sign. Again, he was not a strike thrower at one point in his career. He fixed that last year. Fell off a little this year, but so far so good.
0-2 off the inside.
He's also tough luck. I mean, he's got that delivery where his entire back is pretty much facing home plate. And right-handed hitters specifically have said when he comes inside, it looks like it's 105 because of how deceptive he is.
Bichette strikes out swinging, so use that same slider. Bichette strikes out, 2 down, nobody on. Let's get a quick update in studio with Zubin.
Dave, we are heading towards all-time status over on ESPN2. The Rays trying to save their season. We are in the 13th. It is scoreless. Anytime a run is scored, don't worry, hang tight. We'll break it and show it to you.
All right, thanks, Zubin. Bottom of the first here, 2 down, nobody on. Vlad Jr. steps up for the first time. Back-to-back strikeouts for Robbie Ray. Ball 1 to Guerrero, who really was neutralized yesterday. 0 for 4 with a strikeout, and probably the worst set of at-bats you could ever see from Vladdy Jr. He wasn't alone.
No. There were a lot of bad hacks yesterday because of Luis Castillo.
The Blue Jays as a team saw 56 pitches between Castillo and Munoz yesterday at 98 miles an hour or above. 56 pitches in one game, 98 plus.
But what the Blue Jays talked about wasn't the velocity. They're like, but the movement. I mean, you're seeing 98 plus, but with that late movement.
So Robbie Ray has struck out 200 batters for 3 different teams. Randy Johnson's the only other left-hander in history that has done that. Randy Johnson, Robbie Ray, baseball history. That's pretty amazing.
It's good company. 1-2. Down and in. That was a good take. That's a pitch Ray's already gotten some swings and misses. You see Robbie Ray nodding his head. I think he knows that's the way he wanted to throw that pitch.
He also knows Vlad. I mean, they were teammates, and big reason why Vlad is so good is getting that pitch he knows he can drive.
The 2-2 again. 3-2. And Vlad, he had another excellent year. It was not as good as last year when only Shohei Ohtani beat him out for the American League MVP. The numbers were down. Still good, just not as extraordinary. 3-2 on the ground to second. Backing up on the ball. Frazier throws him out, and Robbie Ray retires the side in order. On to the second in Toronto. No score. 21 in World Series history on this date in 1956. On this date, 2022, we're here at the Rogers Center. Elimination game for the Blue Jays. Mariners trying to advance to the division series, and Adam Frazier stands in to lead off in the second for the Mariners. Nothing against Gausman. Frazier had a hit in game 1. And when I asked Kevin Gausman yesterday about facing this lineup, he goes, the guy who gives me the most problems is Adam Frazier. I hate facing that guy. 0-2.
And Adam Frazier, I just told you, you have to look up for the fastball against him. And Adam Frazier, who hits him really well, says, I look soft against Gausman. That's the best shot, is to look for the split and try to hit it and adjust to the fastball. So he does it the opposite way, and it works.
0-2. That was some kind of adjustment.
How short he was on that. I mean, that was like literally choke up, just use 50% swing, try to put the ball in play.
Scoreless here. We only have 11 innings to go to match what's happened in Cleveland. It is still happening. Bottom of the 13th in that game. 0-2. Frazier, liner to short, and a leaping catch by Bichette. What a play.
Bichette. I mean, you can see why Adam Frazier gives Kevin Gausman fits. I mean, a 2-strike swing, he puts a nice barrel on the ball, but Bo Bichette, get up. I mean, this is a good, what's the vertical on that? 5-6 feet, him getting up to be able to take away a hit on a good looking swing from Adam Frazier.
He is a great athlete. He's a great tennis player. He still plays in the offseason. He says it keeps me athletic, and there was a very athletic play.
Wow. Attaboy from Kevin Gausman. Here's Carlos Santana, and that's a strike.
That's rare, too. You don't see the splitter thrown for a strike very much from Kevin Gausman.
Used to be he would throw a changeup, and the whole point of the changeup was that he didn't throw the splitter for strikes. So every once in a while he wanted to throw a similar looking pitch that could be a called strike. But he's basically scrapped the changeup. He just throws the split, and he also throws 97.
So when he went to the Reds, they put him in the bullpen and say, throw a fastball and a split. That's all. Then he went to the Giants, and they said, just use both of those as a starting pitcher. And he goes, are you sure? And they said, yes, it'll work, and it did.
Worked in a major way. 0-2. Santana stays alive. He's used the slider a little more frequently this year, but almost as like a get ahead, get it in kind of pitch. And you do wonder, elimination game, playoff game.
Yeah. Well, he's only thrown 41 this year, and 34 of them were for the first pitch of an at bat. So he's going to throw it. It's going to be early.
Julio Rodriguez has that back brace on. Santana strikes out swinging.
Another strikeout on the splitter, and we talked about it. He throws it differently than you'll see from any other pitcher that throws a splitter. It's the two-seam split, and you look at the grip. He was showing us yesterday. You see the split, but it's where he's holding it. Now look at where the splitter starts. That's what the batter sees. Look at the depth that he gets on this pitch. This is why so much swing and miss. It's a strike. Now it ain't. The way that it drops below the zone is really why it makes it so good. You look at it at 86 miles an hour. It's got 8% more spin rate. What does that do? It's more vertical and horizontal movement than average.
And when it breaks down to the right and to the left. When Jack Morris had his great split, it always broke straight down. Now you have to guess, is it going to break right or left when it breaks down?
So 2 down for young Jared Kelenic. He takes strike 2. Fastball splitter combo. Now what's coming? Gausman, 0-2. Kelenic took the splitter. Pete Walker, pitching coach for the Blue Jays, along with the young manager John Schneider, had so much to do with the turnaround of this season. The Mariners turned their season around as well. Both these teams had years where for a while it just wasn't going the way they had planned it. 1-2. Got him with the splitter. So 2 more strikeouts for Kevin Gausman. Midway through 2 in Toronto. April season on the brink, just like the Mets. Both games available on the app. Blue Jays need a win to force Game 3 here in Toronto. Alejandro Kirk, who knows Robbie Ray so well from catching him last year. Kirk, the DH in this game, takes ball 1.
Talking to him before the game, he had a big smile on his face saying, oh yeah, I know him. I know his head works. I know exactly how he'll want to throw me. Of course, that one looked up and in, a little off the plate. But he said he's going to want to try to get me in.
Kirk drives one down the right field line, but it slices foul.
So Robbie Ray's walk rate was 5.12 for a 3-year period. And then last year it dropped to 2.4. I said, what happened? He said, I was out in my backyard. This is an accomplished major league pitcher throwing into a net. And he said, I felt something. I sensed something. I fixed it, and now I throw more strikes. Backyard. What's he, 10 years old?
Forget all the TrackMan machines and the pitching labs and all that stuff.
He was out there by himself, and he found a feel for the ball that he had before. So he called Paul Mahalik, one of his other pitching coaches, and he said, I think I got this back. And they found it and corrected it.
There's an old tire swing. Can I throw into that? 1-2. Kirk, foul ball. Straight back out of play. Still a ball and 2 strikes.
It's getting rather close to me up here. I will remind you, I will be under the table if it comes near me. And I don't even have to duck to get under the table.
You were going for it.
Well, it's headed back in our direction. Rogers Center, a lot of life and energy today. That one outside, 2-2. And I think these fans are waiting to see the Blue Jays offense they watched for most of the year. I mean, you got to give the Mariners pitching credit, but so far, just none of that. Kirk, line drive down the left field line. That's a base hit. Into the corner. Played by Kelnick. Into second, though, with a leadoff double. Alejandro Kirk. Robbie Ray tried to get him in, and Kirk was ready for it.
Just like you said, Jess, he's going to pitch him in. Kirk knew it, and he turned on one.
Especially with 2 strikes. He had a really good idea of where he was going to come. Watch him just open up those hips. I mean, he gets to a slider that's breaking in onto his hands. We've seen so far the top hitters in this Blue Jays lineup struggle with that pitch, but Kirk was ready for it, drives it down the line. Leadoff double.
Not known for his speed. He's known for a lot of things, Alejandro Kirk. Defensive skills, framing, hitting ability, personality. Teoscar Hernandez takes a strike. That's a first pitch slider to Hernandez, who can be an erratic hitter, but is such a gifted hitter. Lots of power from this guy. Runner in scoring position. Hernandez takes a ball. It's 1-1.
We talk about the big bats in this lineup. Vlad Guerrero Jr. definitely one of them. Teoscar Hernandez, I mean, for everything that he's done. Silver Slugger Award in 2021. 1140 OPS last 2 weeks of the season. When he gets hot, it is fire hot.
Looking for their first run of the series. And that's a ball, 2-1.
Keep in mind, Ray gave up 32 homers this year. That was the 3rd most in the major leagues, and since 2015 he's given up the most homers in the major leagues, 185. So if he misses, sometimes it can end up in the seats.
2-1. Hernandez, high drive, left field, and it is gone.
Well, he missed it and ended up in the seats.
Yes, it did. 2-0 Blue Jays. Teoscar Hernandez gives the Blue Jays their first lead of the postseason, their first runs of the postseason. Wear the jacket for a couple minutes. Matt Chapman threw the high fastball. It's 0-2.
Just an underrated bat within this lineup, and they have so many throughout it. You understand why, but Teoscar Hernandez has been so huge.
Chapman takes high. They had one extra base hit as a team yesterday all game, and it came the second to last hitter of the game. So it took him the whole game to get an extra base hit. They've hit back-to-back extra base hits now against Robbie Ray and have scored twice. 2-2. Still nobody out for Robbie Ray and the Mariners in this bottom of the second. Chapman fouls it out of play.
Tell the scouting report, Chapman, at least for this matchup, fastball's up in the zone. That's all he's seen. 95, 96, the top of the strike zone. 4 in a row.
When you do wonder if that one swing will just relax this Blue Jays team. That's a call to strike 3. Got the call toward the outside. Chapman did not like it.
Timmy, you mentioned it was a miss. I mean, this slider up in the zone. We've seen him kind of back foot it to the right-handed batters, and this was right at the chest into that zone for Hernandez. 104 miles an hour off the bat, 401 feet, a towering shot. The first time we've seen these Blue Jays fans on their feet, and something to yell for this offense.
I mean, it's funny. He was watching it for a while, almost like he wasn't quite sure. He crushed that thing.
I think it was just so pretty.
Maybe he just wanted to admire it.
There was no doubt.
Here's Danny Jansen catching today for the Blue Jays. Was the DH in game 1. He fouls that one straight back. He knew it. That was a big swing for this Jays team.
Danny Jansen had 15 homers this year. They had 6 different guys with 15 homers, same number as the Yankees. That's why this team is so dangerous. They have guys at the bottom of the order that can take you deep. You don't watch out.
He's got service. Got to be watching very closely. That's another line drive. This time Jansen. It will be cut off by Kelnick. Good play by him. So that'll hold Jansen to a single. The Jays bats are waking up. Wasn't like there was a whole lot of doubt, as much as he did admire it. Home run in 30 out of 30 big league ballparks. It was high. It was a beautiful home run to watch. Towering fly ball that just kept going. And Robbie Ray, the former Blue Jays ace, he won the Cy Young Award here last year. There have to be some concern. The Mariners, in fact, there's some stirring now in the Seattle bullpen. It's a playoff game. In a best-of-3 series, you got to manage and play with urgency. That's a ball to Whit Merrifield, and the ball thrown back to Robbie Ray, who was unhappy about the call, and he was so distracted he missed the throw.
So Ray got hit hard his last time out against Oakland. I was told he was in the middle of the plate the whole day. You just can't do that against today's hitters, especially against the Blue Jay hitters.
Whit Merrifield hitting 8th today. He takes a strike. It was a real down year for Whit Merrifield, who has such a great career as a Kansas City Royal. Arguably their best player year after year in Kansas City, and really didn't have a good start to his Blue Jays career after he got traded here, but finished the year on fire.
And he's in left field today against the left-handed pitcher. I asked him before the game, I said, your comfort level at second base is a 10. What about left field? He said, I'm on 9.5 out there. I am totally comfortable playing either corner, and that's why he's so valuable here. He can play infield and outfield and hit and steal a base.
Behind the count, 1-2. He takes the slider down and in.
3 hits this inning have come off of that slider, Clem, and back just the first inning, that was the strikeout pitch, but it's been a different pitch already here in the 2nd inning.
This next one will be the 40th of the game for Robbie Ray. With only 1 out here in the bottom of the 2nd, he steps off again. Just not looking real comfortable on the mound. Two. On the ground to first. France, nice play to spin and get the out at second, and the double play. Beautifully turned by the Mariners infield defense.
Right, they have an elite defense, and Ty France is a Gold Glove candidate and makes a beautiful play here. Throws a strike to second and gets back to first in time.
But the swing by Hernandez has put the Blue Jays ahead 2-0. 3 against the Mariners, and the Blue Jays off to an excellent start. They lead 2-0, top third. Teoscar Hernandez with a towering 2-run home run has put his team ahead. Now Kevin Gausman back to work against the 9-1-2 hitters for the Mariners, starting with their shortstop J.P. Crawford. Left-handed hitter against Gausman, and he takes just a little bit outside. Ball 1.
So Dave, I know you didn't ask, but the 5 best splits I've ever seen.
What are the 5 best splits you've ever seen, Tim?
Well, Bruce Sutter was number 1. Mike Scott was number 2.
Okay.
Jack Morris 3. Roger Clemens 4. And I think we're going to add this guy in. I mean, this is preposterous. When he throws it right, you can't hit it.
Well, and we didn't have the granular data from those pitchers back in those days. Crawford, little pop up. Chapman and Bichette chasing. It's Matt Chapman who runs it down. Nice play.
That's why he's the best defensive third baseman in the American League. Buck Shaw always talks about range in the air. He has tremendous range on balls in the air. We know how well he catches the ground ball and how well he throws, but he can go down that line with any third baseman in the game.
Well, watch the drop step, and that's the biggest thing you don't see infielders is that first step, is understanding like an outfielder. You got to go straight back. If you have any chance to catch that ball, you look at his first move, back and running. That's why you see his back to be able to get to this point and make a grab you won't see many third basemen make.
And tremendously underrated speed. Running to first base and running down that line. He can really move.
It's funny, the defensive metrics did not like Matt Chapman as much this season. You ask everybody around the Blue Jays, and they say, oh, he was elite. Forget those.
I talked to George Springer, and he said, I will put him up against any analytic third baseman ever because he's the best I've ever seen.
1 out, and Julio Rodriguez, second look at Gausman. Rodriguez might have just missed one his first time up. And he lines that one to second, caught by Espinal.
111 miles an hour.
Wow.
That's 7 more than the home run that Hernandez hit. It's a hardest hit ball so far in this series, and it's an out.
Hang with them, Julio. So 2 down. I mean, he's the guy that Scott Service said was going to come through with a big moment today, which it's not like he's going way out on a limb. Julio Rodriguez is supremely talented, but his manager was really confident that he was going to have good swings. He's had excellent swings already. Here's Ty France, fouls that one out of play.
So yesterday we were talking about Tony Gwynn was his coach at San Diego State and what a great influence he had. Ty told me the lessons he learned from Tony, they didn't all sink in because he was only 18, 20 years old. But he said, when I got to high A ball and double A, I'd be standing there and I'd go, that's it. That's what Tony was telling me. Now I'm old enough to truly understand it. It makes so much sense.
He's turned into a really good hitter, a trade that Mariners fans were, I don't know if fans were totally unhappy. Scott Service wasn't real happy about it when they traded away Austin Nola, who'd been a great player for the Mariners.
He said he was against the trade, and it has made them a team that made the playoffs.
0-2, Gausman. Foul ball. Ty France managed to at least get a piece of that splitter. He's just a good all-around player. He is good at first base defensively. And not massive raw power, but he hit 20 home runs this year.
Very aggressive hitter, too. Not a lot of walks.
And, of course, he's the first baseman on the all-country team, which we will go over tonight. Not now, but you guys will guess the all-major league team with a player at each position with the last name of a country.
I did notice the French flag and the baguette there in the stands supporting Ty France. 0-2. .99-mile-an-hour fastball. Kevin Gausman, I can't remember seeing 90. You see a lot of 96s, even 97s, 99.
Sits at 95, but can get to 99.
That's why it was so far out. I think he overthrew it.
1-2. In the dirt. So Ty France having a good battle here. Still a long way to go. Three and two.
That is a great take. We got 2 strikes from an aggressive hitter in Ty France. He's able to really recognize right now a couple inches off the plate. That's a splitter.
Eighth pitch of the at bat here. France on the ground to second. Espinal handles this one cleanly, throws him out. Side retired. Blue Jays facing elimination, leading 2-0.
Bullpen, how short's his leash?
No, Robbie's throwing the ball fine. He made a mistake to Hernandez, and obviously Hernandez got all kinds of power, but I think he's throwing the ball great. He just got the ball up, and they took advantage of it.
How great is their starter against your guys, Kevin Gausman?
He's off to a good start. You know, it's about what we expected. The velocity's up a little bit for Gausman today, but, you know, we got to swing good pitches, and we'll be fine.
All right, thanks very much. Back to you, Dave.
All right, Coley, thanks. So Scott Service noticed what we did. He saw 99 from Gausman. As we go to the bottom of the third, ball 1 to Santiago Espinal, who was an all-star this year, hurt at the end of the regular season. Line drive down the left field line. Another hit for the Jays. Hits off the sidewall. Espinal easily into second with a leadoff double.
And last 4 hits all to the pull side, all on balls on the inside part of the plate. Ted Williams used to say history is made on the inside part of the plate, and this is what the Blue Jays have done beautifully these last 2 innings.
It's a pitch that Robbie Ray is trying to get in on the hands and just hasn't been able to. Especially, you mentioned, last middle bottom of this lineup. It's been a nice job getting barrel of this one.
And it is pretty impressive. Espinal, who hasn't had a game at bat in 2.5 weeks. You can work on the side all you want. This is a little different, and he doubles to lead off the inning. Now George Springer pulls one foul.
When you think about the slider back in the first inning, to George Springer was the slider, the top 3 hitters in the lineup. Robbie Ray did an excellent job of getting them out. Second inning, different story. The adjustments were made to that same pitch, the slider, being able to get to it, backed off the plate. The Blue Jays from the first to second inning against the slider on Ray. Huge difference.
Springer falls down. He swings so hard trying to get to that fastball in. It's 0-2.
George Springer has 19 postseason homers. Next up is Derek Jeter with 20. Manny Ramirez has the most with 29. You got to think, with as much as this guy will continue on, he might have that record someday.
He's got a chance. The extra base power for the Blue Jays in play here today against their old teammate. Springer lays off that slider down.
It's the first pitch he's taken. I mean, he's been swinging at everything. Fastballs up, sliders down.
I think it's what makes him good.
Yeah.
And I know sometimes he can be a little swing happy, but I think in the playoffs against elite pitching, that attack mode makes George Springer the player he is.
He's not intimidated.
Not at all. 1-2. 2-2. Runner in scoring position, nobody out. And he got him with the slider. Got him to chase. Big first out for Robbie Ray. So one out, Bichette coming up, but let's check in with Zoom It In studio.
Dave, we're looking at an all-timer here over on ESPN2. We've got runners at the corners, Francisco Mejia at the plate. First playoff game that's ever gone scoreless to the 15th. 37 Ks. Promise we'll keep you up to date.
All right, please do. Rays at least have a chance. Haven't been even many scoring opportunities in that game. Blue Jays have another one here in this game with their best hitters coming up. Bo Bichette takes strike one right on the inside.
Talk about a guy who's better when he's aggressive. That's Bo Bichette. People kept telling him, be more selective, be more selective. And he said, forget that. I'm going to swing the bat like I always do. And he got 48 hits in the month of September.
He hits that one to left center field. Rodriguez out there. He'll make the catch. Espinal stays at second. 2 down with Vladdy Jr. coming up. Enjoy the thrill of the postseason with the MLB app. Get daily lineups, live pitch-by-pitch coverage, and more in our free app with over 150,000 reviews. Download the MLB app today. We couldn't live without it this time of year or any time of year.
Really like that sport coat, Dave. Way to go.
Yeah, thought I'd change it up today. Wear the same one. I was going to wear something different, but
sorry.
Well, I hope we get a game 3 because you're going to see it tomorrow. 2 down. Runner at second. And Vlad Guerrero Jr. his second look at Robbie Ray. Grounded out his first time up. Ray trying to work around that leadoff double. Guerrero had a big cut there, and that was a pitch to hit.
That was his best swing today and his best one from yesterday also. It's only a matter of time before this guy creases one.
Now these young Jays hitters, they got a tiny taste of playoff baseball in 2020, but it was so different. The COVID year, no fans, just was not at all like a real postseason. Just inside, at least according to the umpire, call the ball. I know those games were important and they counted and they were real playoff games, but this, to me, for Guerrero, for Bichette, for so many of these players in this series, the first true playoff experience. A line drive up the middle, base hit. A low liner that skipped through, and that's going to score Espinal. And Guerrero is pumped at first base. It's 3-0 Blue Jays.
Well, of course, Vlad would hit the hardest ball that we've seen in this series. 113 miles an hour on the ground, no doubt, getting through. And just the fist pumps going down the first baseline. That feeling of almost relief. You talked about it yesterday. Castillo just kind of dicing up this lineup. Vlad's bat has been quiet, and it's his first postseason hit this season.
And just like the start against Oakland, another pitch in the middle of the plate. You're not going to get away with that on the big league level. Not against great hitters like Vlad Guerrero.
That's a big extra run. Still a long way to go in this game, but the Blue Jays had a runner at second and nobody out, and Robbie Ray was 1 out away from getting through it. But Guerrero with that hard hit smash up the middle. Now Alejandro Kirk, who got the offense started last inning with a double, comes up for the second time. Pete Woodworth, pitching coach, out for a meeting, and the bullpen is going for the Mariners. Matt Brash is the guy getting loose. And I know, look, it was a fair question. I don't blame Scott Servais for supporting his guy, but Coley asked the Mariners manager coming out of the break, is there a short leash? Oh, no. And it's a playoff game. Of course there is. And the hard hit balls from the Blue Jays starting to pile up. That one fouled away by Kirk.
And Matt Brash has been what they call their pivot guy in the bullpen. If anyone gets in trouble early, instead of bringing in a starter to go 6 innings, they bring in somebody to come and stop the bleeding and try to keep it there. That's who Matt Brash has been. It's been very effective.
The 1-1. Kirk, a pop-up. Left side of the diamond. Crawford underneath it for out number 3. But another run for the Blue Jays. We're through 3. It's 3-0 Jay. Somebody had to score at some point, and that is a pretty cool way to end it. Man, the Cleveland pitching, the home run ends it. What was that, 24 innings in that series for the Rays? They scored 1 run.
Guardians have great pitching. Those 3 guys at the top, and then Clase at the end of the game. I wouldn't want any part of the Guardians right now with the way they pitch.
Meanwhile, Kevin Gausman dealing here in the first 3 innings. Top of the 4th, 1 ball, 1 strike to count. Eugenio Suarez for the Mariners. Blue Jays now ahead 3-0.
I just find it so interesting that he goes from the stretch exclusively. So many pitchers do that. They have discovered that with fewer moving parts, there are fewer errors that can be made in the delivery. You can throw just as hard out of the stretch, and a lot of guys are going there, and it works.
2-1. 2-2. And I do think that Kevin Gausman's short stint in the bullpens in Atlanta and Cincinnati in a way kind of changed his career.
It did, and he told me he was shocked when he went to San Francisco that they said, we want you to do the same thing as the starter.
Same mindset, pitch usage, and honestly being more consistent out of the stretch. I mean, that was a big part of it. It's just going to something that he felt confident in. You don't see many starting pitchers with 2 pitches, but
right, that's what he told the Giants. You want me to pitch with 2 pitches the whole year as a starter, and one of them is an off-speed pitch. And they said, yes, that's what we want you to do.
And he was one of the best pitchers in the National League 2 years in a row. Now one of the best in the American League. 2-2. Got it with the splitter. Suarez strikes out swinging. Well, just moments ago, before we came back here, Coley had a chat with John Schneider.
The atmosphere in here has been so much different than it was in game 1. How much of a lift is your offense giving this place?
Yeah, it's been great. Great start by Kev so far on the mound, and you kind of feed off the crowd. At-bats have been really good against Robbie. Big homer by Teo. Great at-bat by Vladdy.
Yeah, speaking of Kevin, your starter Kevin Gausman, what's making him so effective in your eyes tonight?
I think, for one, he's got really good stuff. Fastball locating it well, and his splits carrying the zone. Guy that we really trust, and he's answering the bell so far.
Thanks very much for your time. Yeah. Thank you, Dave.
All right, John Schneider, who's young and in charge here in Toronto, has really helped turn this Blue Jays season around. This young team, so many of those Blue Jays players, the young stars, came up in the minor leagues with John Schneider as their manager. He still has the interim tag on his title.
I have a feeling they're going to take that away pretty soon. He's done that good a job, and he's had some help too. Casey Candell has been in the dugout with him. Casey Candell, by the way, his mom, Helen Candell, played in a league of their own. She was a professional baseball player in the Women's Professional Baseball League. It's a great story.
0-2 to Cal Raleigh. Foul tip. Stays alive.
So I asked him, how good was your mom? And he said she's the only mother ever barred from playing in the father, mother, daughter, son softball game because she was too good. I said, what was she like? He goes, well, her swing was way better than mine. And Casey was a major league player. That was Helen Candell, his beloved mother.
That's
I
pretty
believe
cool.
it.
Still 0-2 to Raleigh, who walked his first time up. Fastball outside. I was told, Tim, that Mariners fans yesterday were very entertained by your explanation of how Cal got his nickname, or why he's got his nickname, the Big Dumper. High pop-up. Guerrero over, but it's over the net into the seats.
You don't want me to repeat that, do you?
I don't need you to repeat it, but you were so elegant in describing it.
Sure, elegant is the right word.
I don't know if you put elegant and Big Dumper in the same.
Probably not. Probably not.
Look, it's okay to have a good chuckle in baseball once in a while. It's a really hard game to play, to cover, to follow. Everyone needs a chuckle once in a while.
So if you got a really big backside, you get a nickname based on that. Sure.
He owns it now.
1-2. Off the inside. Pretty good fastball, 97 miles an hour. And Cal Raleigh, these 2 plate appearances here, I mean, this is who he is. He is tough. The batting average is low. He had 211 during the regular season, but he's got power. He's got patience. He does have a real good idea at the plate. A coach's kid. Strike 3 call. Perfect fastball. Six strikeouts for Kevin Gausman.
You know, we were talking about this before the game. When the ball gets in play against Kevin Gausman, as he told me, if they put it in play, it's like always a hit. And it's a part of the issue with him. That's why when he strikes people out, because when he throws so many splits, balls on the ground, they somehow find a hole, and they're all confused by that.
He had by far the highest batting average balls in play against of any pitcher in the game this year.
400.
It's sort of astonishing. And one thing that the Jays have done as the year's gone on, and we're seeing it here with most of these Mariners hitters, they're just playing more straight up defense. They were shifting aggressively behind him early, and it wasn't working.
They even called the Giants and said, how did you guys play behind Gausman? We're trying to figure out, should we shift, not shift? And like Gausman told me, he said, we're playing more straight up now, and it seems to be working a little better.
Mostly conventional defense here behind Gausman with 2 down and nobody on. He has fallen behind Mitch Haniger 2-0. I think Haniger is going to be a really important player for this Mariners team if their run continues. He hits a drive toward left center field. Sprinting after it, Springer, and he will make the catch on the run and then smash into the wall. And he might be holding that wrist again, maybe his side. Hopefully he's okay. Outstanding play by George Springer.
Got on his horse. I thought this was leaving the yard or doubling the gap. Springer takes one away. Blue Jays still up.
As electric vehicle performance becomes more powerful.
Now George Springer's getting beat up in this series. Great sprinting catch, slammed into the wall. You can immediately see him react. Yesterday, of course, Springer got drilled by a pitch. Teoscar Hernandez drives this one deep left field. It's gone. His second home run of the game against Robbie Ray. 4-0 Jays. Second time already, and that swing is going to knock Robbie Ray out of this game.
Well, you know, when you hit a slider, anything off speed out of the park, your first at bat, you're going to come up hunting exactly the opposite. He knew he was going to get a fastball. First pitch, you don't see him first pitch swing a ton, but he knew he got it.
Yeah, that deserves a curtain call. Last year they were cheering Robbie Ray, won a Cy Young Award here in Toronto. This year they're jeering him off the field as the Blue Jays have a 4 spot on the board. Bottom of the 4th, pitching change. We'll be back after this.
Oscar Hernandez.
3rd multi-home run playoff game in Blue Jays history. Jose Bautista in 2015. Danny Jansen just a couple years ago in that wild card series against the Rays. Here's Matt Chapman against the new pitcher for the Mariners, the hard-throwing right-hander Matt Brash. Starts off Chapman with a hard slider for ball 1.
As we said, they use their bullpen in an unconventional way. Normally you bring in your long man, in this case maybe George Kirby. They say no, that's not what we're going to do. We're going to bring in our pivot guy to stop the bleeding here, and this is a guy that can really do it. 62 strikeouts in 50 2/3 innings at Jess. He has a devastating breaking ball.
Yeah, he's got a curveball slider combo. I mean, hitters just on the 2 of them. 188 against that pitch. He was a starter earlier in the year, struggled. And that's why you see this kind of inflated ERA. I mean, he was 7.65 as a starter, but 2.35 out of the pen. They found the spot for Matt Brash in this Mariners organization.
So we have a Matt pitcher and a Matt hitter at the time. So I think I've done research on the best Matts of all time. I'll be interested to see if you agree with who I have as the top 5 Matts or 4 Matts of all time, or at least where we're going.
Check swing, foul.
Matt Holliday, number 1. Matt Williams, number 2. And now on the way, Matt Olson and Matt Chapman. No Matt has ever won the MVP in the major leagues, and I think those are the top 2 and 2 guys who might, who knows, replace them someday.
Chapman, a pop-up, kind of into no man's land. Ty France back to the infield, makes the over-the-shoulder catch. Out number 1. Oscar Hernandez. And I think you're exactly right, Jess. He came up looking for that fastball after he launched the slider his first time up. He was on it. First one was kind of the towering, aesthetically pleasing home run. This one was just a laser.
Seeds on the head, jacket on, curtain call, all the feels.
Here's Danny Jansen, has a multi-home run game in his playoff career. So you put Matt Holliday ahead of Matt Williams, huh?
In a very close, very close.
I might flip those around personally. No offense to Matt Holliday. Robbie Ray, I'm sure, very disappointed back here in Toronto, where he had so much success last year, won the Cy Young Award, just had a great year, and his second career playoff start did not go well. And then the exit velocity for the Blue Jays against Robbie Ray, that's kind of what they do. They hit the ball hard, this offense. 113, 114, 106, 104, 104. That's a lot of hard hit balls.
I didn't see anything over 95 yesterday.
Yeah, just a totally different story with Luis Castillo out there. Jansen strikes out swinging.
And there's that breaking ball, slider at 90, nasty, up in the zone.
So Brash gets out number 2. Don't miss a thing this postseason. Follow at MLB on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube to keep up with everything baseball. Yeah, those numbers are so misleading because since he transitioned to the bullpen, Matt Brash has been a dominator. The Mariners bullpen is great.
Mariners bullpen has a 207 batting average against this year. That is exceptionally low. They are so difficult to put in play, power arms everywhere, and this guy's one of them.
Merrifield not even close.
Batting average against, and they've been even better in the back half of the season. You look at the numbers for the regular season, including that batting average, leads all of the American League in strikeouts to walk ratio and the whip.
Well, I thought he went around. He did. On appeal, the first base umpire says that's a swing. That's Brian Knight over there.
This bullpen hasn't gotten a significant amount of work either, which is important as we move along in the postseason, that it's not exhausted by the end. The Astros bullpen has the fewest innings, which really bodes well for them moving forward. It's a fresher bullpen in October.
We did get a shot there of George Springer back in the Blue Jays dugout. He was missing for a while. He went back in the tunnel after crashing into the left center field wall. So I don't know if that means he's definitely staying in the game or what. Got hit by a pitch yesterday. Might have hit that same spot in that wall collision.
And we said this yesterday, you know, x-rays are negative, he must be okay. When just because the x-rays are negative doesn't mean that hand isn't killing him right now. But being a gamer, and as John Schneider said, it's October, that's George Springer's time, we knew he'd be ready to play today.
He's definitely not 100%, but he's staying in the game. He's getting the gear on the ground toward third. Nice play charging it with the backhand Suarez. His throw is wide, but Ty France comes off the bag, takes the throw, and gets the tag on Merrifield for out number 3. But the Blue Jays get the starter out of the game. They lead 4-0. Sitting at home watching to see who advances. So that all starts on Tuesday. George Springer still in the game. And the Blue Jays have a 4-0 lead, top 5. Kevin Gausman back to work. 60 pitches through 4 innings for Gausman. Adam Frazier takes a strike.
We've seen that splitter thrown more for a strike in this start than we normally see from Kevin Gausman. That pitch is usually rarely in the zone.
I mean, I've known Kevin for a long time. He used to tell me if it's a strike, it's a changeup, because I never throw my splitter for a called strike. Here's another liner off the bat of Frazier, and he's got a hit against Kevin Gausman. So a leadoff single for the Mariners, and we'll go to studio with Zubin.
Dave, a whopping 39 Ks, but in the end, one big hit and one gigantic celebration for the Guardians. The party is on, and they...
That was a pretty cool scene. Youngest team in big league baseball, Cleveland.
And some old school ways too. I mean, the way they play the game.
Not a lot of power. What do they have? The second fewest home runs of any offense in baseball.
Don't strike out, put the ball in play.
By
defense.
far the fewest strikeouts in the American League, most sacrifice flies, all these little things that we don't pay attention to, they do, and they really catch the ball well. And Tito Francona knows exactly what to do this time of year.
We saw Scott Service trying to grind out maybe the game plan the rest of the way here. It's 4-0. We're in the 5th. Frazier aboard with nobody out, and the bullpen working again for the Mariners. Paul Sewald is the guy who is up and getting loose. And I think, look, Tim was talking about it. The idea, use that bullpen, stay in the game. Long way to go. Blue Jays bullpen is good, but hasn't been locked down, at least not until you get to the 9th inning. See if he can hang around this game.
Gausman, the second half hasn't been quite as good as the first half, and they tell me that some of the hitters were laying off the split a little bit more. They've had trouble doing that today, which is why he has been in complete control of this game.
Isn't it funny how he said, yeah, Adam Frazier's the guy, I can't get him, and he's hit 2 line drives. Right. He's 1 for 2. First hit for the Mariners, Adam Frazier, here in the 5th inning.
Look at the splitters through the first 4 innings. We talked about it, Dave. I mean, throwing more for strikes, and characteristically, you see the depth that he has on that pitch. It's never really in that box. And we've seen about 8 or 9 of them, which has only helped him. Mariners that are trying to lay off a bit.
Gausman had retired 10 in a row before the Frazier leadoff hit here. Santana lays off the splitter. Full count, 3-2. There's an error in the top of the 1st inning, plus a rare Gausman walk. So the Mariners had a good scoring opportunity in the 1st. Gausman got through it. Mariners trying to generate another chance here. 3-2. Santana drives one out towards center field. Springer all the way back. It is off the wall, and it stays in play. Going to third and stopping there, Frazier. Into second, Carlos Santana. Just barely missed a home run. George Springer with another collision with the wall. And here come the Mariners. Second and third, nobody out.
So that was a 3-2 pitch. Adam Frazier probably not running there, and good idea. And Santana gets a ball right in the middle of the plate.
Just misses a home run. I mean, talking a few feet.
Walls here in Toronto, man, that was
a few inches.
Really close, and the umpires may be asked to take a look at this one. I think it hit the top of the wall,
yes,
for sure, and stayed in. There's more depth behind that wall there than maybe it appears. I mean, there's no real harm in just confirming it, taking a look with video replay.
It's a playoff game. We should.
You got the system in place.
Seattle is requesting a crew chief review of potential home run.
You don't have to use one of your challenges. The boundary calls, you can ask the umpires to do it, and they basically always will comply.
You know, when I grew up, the ball went over the fence or it didn't go over the fence. Now there's all sorts of stuff behind the fences, and it makes it very confusing for the umpires depending on the ballpark.
In general, this is an easier park to umpire in because there is that gap. I mean, you would have a hard time hitting
After
the back
review,
wall.
The call on the field is confirmed. The ball is in play.
So again, there's no harm in a playoff game of just making sure. So it stayed in play. Meanwhile, Pete Walker, the pitching coach for the Blue Jays, had a visit to the mound. Scott Service's team is one swing of the bat away from getting right back in this game. At the bottom of the order, young Jared Kelenic, who struck out in his first at bat. Blue Jays keep the infield back with nobody out. And I know you're down 4-0. You're not really looking to play small ball and give up outs, but if you pull a ground ball on the right side, you can get a run home and get the guy over. You got a chance to score both runners without another hit in the inning if you play it properly. And then you feel like you're right back in the game, and you are. Kelenic instead to left center, not that deep. We'll see. Merrifield underneath it. Frazier is going to tag and try to score. The throw is going to get cut off. So Kelenic deep enough for the sacrifice fly, and the Mariners are on the board.
So Whit Merrifield's become a decent outfielder here, but that's a classic case of a second baseman playing left field, and he didn't approach it exactly like a premium left fielder would do. Probably wouldn't have thrown him out anyway.
And for young Jared Kelenic, who has had his share of struggles at the major league level, that's a positive trip to the plate.
You could see, I mean, he had pep in his step the moment he hit it, just being able to make contact, help his team right now.
I mean, you got to make sure in this spot you get at least one home. They've done that. Now J.P. Crawford, runner at second, one out. Santana not a lot of speed at second base. That's a strike over the outside. First pitch splitter.
Crawford's thinking, if I get on base here, the two best hitters on our team maybe are coming up next.
It's a huge at bat in this game. And I thought J.P. Crawford looked really comfortable at the plate. I told him so before the game today, and he said, you know, I really didn't have the nerves that I thought I'd have playing in the playoffs. Big bouncer, and it'll kick foul. Let's go down to Coley.
Yesterday was his first playoff game, and his eyes lit up when I asked him about that. He said the atmosphere was crazy. Not only was the win big, but just being around the anthem and the introductions, he was really trying to soak it all in.
All right, thanks, Coley. J.P. Crawford behind in the count 0-2. Right back to Gausman. Santana scrambles to get back to second, and Gausman makes the play. So 2 down. But Julio Rodriguez will get a shot here in the 5th, and Julio 0 for 2, but might have just missed it twice.
Scott Service told us before the game, look for something big for him today. This is a pretty big spot in this game.
This is who you want up. We've been waiting for Julio to be at 2. The runner in scoring position. I mean, he leads off the game.
Different game circumstance with that open base. Who knows? Maybe Gausman doesn't want to mess around with him. But when you're up 4-1, in theory, Rodriguez, I mean, should see some strikes here. We'll see. He hits that one hard on one hop to third. Chapman's got it all the way across in time to get the speedy Rodriguez for out. Everybody decked out in Blue Jays blue. The Jays with a 4-1 lead, bottom 5. Santiago Espinal very courteous. Julio Rodriguez was not at his position. He told the new pitcher Paul Sewald, hey, you should wait for your center fielder to get over there before you throw a pitch. Ball 1 outside, and it's one of the things that I think makes this Mariners team so much fun. Paul Sewald's a guy who's pitched the 9th inning. A lot of times he's got 20 saves. Here he is in the bottom of the 5th.
Leads the team in saves and is pitching in the 5th. He's had a great year. He's pitched 64 innings, allowed 32 hits. When he came to the Mariners, he was a down in the strike zone pitcher, and they told him, we want you to pitch up in the strike zone. He changed everything. Now he throws that sweeping slider up in the zone, and people have a hard time catching up to it.
Espinal didn't catch up to that higher fastball, 92 miles an hour. It's 1-2.
He's got one of those fastballs, 92, but it plays up more like 98, partly because he's elevating, but also the high spin kind of keeps that plane.
The 1-2. A little poke shot up the middle, base hit. Well, who needs live game action? Santiago Espinal took a big wide turn, made sure that Rodriguez threw it back into second base accurately. Leadoff hit for Espinal, who's 2 for 2.
How about the bat to ball skills on this too? I mean, look at the pitch location. Look at his body. I mean, literally just get my barrel to the ball, eliminate my lower half because it's gone. Does a nice job there with a tough pitch. Second hit of the night.
Hadn't played for 2+ weeks. That's the 4th straight inning now for the Blue Jays. First inning, Robbie Ray retired the side in order. Ever since, whether it's Ray or now Sewald, Blue Jays have had the leadoff hitter reach base. Here's George Springer. Foul ball.
Robbie Ray might not have had a good night, but he had a good night against George Springer and 2 strikeouts. That slider was just a tough pitch for Springer to be able to recognize and make contact with. Sure, he is happy that he's out of the game.
And to me, he still looks like he's in some pain. Every follow through, a little deep breaths, some grimaces. He's kind of an expressive guy anyway.
As we said, a freakish athlete, George Springer. I asked him the other day, when's the last time you dunked it, or can you still dunk a basketball? He goes, of course I can. But he said, I got really small hands, so I can't palm it. I have to dunk it two-handed.
There's no problem getting up to do that. 0-2. Did he go? Yes. On appeal, that's strike 3. Out number 1, and another check in studio with Zubin.
Dave, the question becomes, is this the final day? The final game, the legendary career of Albert Pujols. Cards got to have it after blowing it in the 9th against the Phillies. First pitch, 8:37 Eastern. That'll be over on ESPN2. Dave, back to you.
All right, thanks. So, I mean, it could be. There's also a question looming over that Mets series, Mets-Padres. Now John Schneider's coming out for a chat with the home plate umpire. Talking to Todd Tichenor here. I don't know.
Not sure what that was about.
Third base umpire, while they were talking, came over and said something to Sewald. Andy Fletcher. So I don't know if John Schneider was asking about something Sewald's doing. One out, runner at first for Bo Bichette. He takes a strike.
So I asked George Springer about Bo Bichette, and he said he has Jose Altuve bat to ball skills and the mentality of Alex Bregman. So that's a pretty good combination. Bo Bichette is both of them. Another reason why he led the league in hits 2 years in a row and has had a devastating last 5 weeks.
For 2 in this game, though. Lines that one down the right field line. That's going to be a fair ball, and it's going to get into the corner. Haniger plays the carom. Espinal to third, and he gets the stop sign. What a nice play by Mitch Haniger out there to play the carom cleanly and fire back in. But the Blue Jays have second and third, 1 out. And the kind of swing we've seen from Bo Bichette over and over and over.
Right. He goes out of the strike zone. He will expand it. He will not be the most patient guy in the world. That ball is a strike, but it's up and away, and he went right with it again. These are the bat to ball skills we're talking about. He's so good.
He's comfortable hitting bad balls. That's a tough pitch to hit, regardless. Up and away. All he has to do is meet it.
His dad was a pretty good hitter and a pretty good bad ball hitter. Dante Bichette once told me, he said, in the prime of his career, every day I come to the ballpark, I wonder, is today the last day that I'll be able to hit in the major leagues? He actually felt that way, and I think Bo Bichette has some of that built in, like, I'm going to show up every day ready to hit because this game is so hard I might not be able to hit tomorrow.
Well, the son of a Hall of Famer, Vlad Guerrero, just got intentionally walked. So that loads the bases. That's a calculated gamble for Scott Service. Bases loaded. And Alejandro Kirk, another guy with great bat-to-ball skills. Bases loaded, 1 out. The Jays trying to break this game open. Leading 4-1. Sewald. This is down, ball 1. So you take away the pitcher's margin for error. Nowhere to put Alejandro Kirk. And he is a guy who will take a walk. He's one of the very few hitters in the big leagues who had more walks than strikeouts over the full season. 1 of 6. Espinal, the runner at third. Bichette at second. Now Vladdy Jr. after the intentional walk at first. That one gets by Raleigh. He missed it. He'll throw late, and it gets by the plate. Crawford backs it up as Espinal slides in safely and scores. The other 2 runners advance. It's 5-1 Blue Jays.
Cal Raleigh is a really good defensive catcher, but something went wrong here. Might have been crossed up a little bit. And remember, he's got that thumb injury that prevents him from being as dexterous with that catcher's mitt as he would like. That ball took off on him. He's still got to catch that ball.
I mean, it did look like he was expecting a different kind of movement.
I think he was crossed up.
Because that's a fastball that's almost...
But I mean, I will say this, with PitchCom, I haven't heard one player this year tell me that there's been a cross up with PitchCom.
Kurt Casale told me he hadn't been crossed up one time because of PitchCom.
So that's a pass ball, and now it's 3-0 to Kirk. Well, whatever happened, it's another run for the Blue Jays. Sewald is struggling. Kirk takes a strike. Infield in for Scott Service here. Almost feeling like do or die time for the Mariners. Well off the outside. It's ball 4. Well, Kirk draws the walk. The bases are loaded again. And look who's coming to the plate.
Last 2 at-bats, he just tore a hole in the sky with those 2 swings. And now he's up with the bases loaded. So we had Oscar Gonzalez with a walk-off homer, and Teoscar has 2 homers in this game.
No grouchiness for the Oscars here today. Bases loaded, 1 out, and a strike. He's got a chance if he does something big here for an all-time playoff performance.
Only a handful of guys have ever hit 3 homers in a postseason game.
There have been 12 of them in history. 0-2.
He's seeing everything big right now, too. You know when you're feeling it, because his first at bat he hit a slider out. It wasn't a bad pitch, and then his last at bat a fastball, and that slider, he was big eyes.
And they got the Teo thing going too here. He is behind the count, 0-2. Sewall. Oh, hits him. Yikes. It hit him. I mean, Raleigh didn't know where the ball was, and I think he thought that for some reason it didn't hit him. I don't know what Cal Raleigh thought, but that's a run. So Teoscar Hernandez will go to first. And Bo Bichette comes in to score. It's 6-1 Blue Jays, and it's unraveling for the Mariners here. Very uncharacteristic for Paul Sewald, who's been one of their guys.
Again, Paul Sewald came into this game with a whip of 0.766 for the season, and he's allowed 5 guys to reach base out of.
And hopefully Whit Merrifield's all right. It's hard to know. I mean, he says he's okay, but talk about concussions and brain injuries. I mean, it's hard to know sometimes. I want to slow him down, just make sure he doesn't just say it to say it. And John Schneider, he's chewing on the home plate umpire Todd Titchener. Again, I do not blame the Blue Jays for being unhappy. Whit Merrifield will stay in the game.
And I'm certainly with you on that, Dave, but why would you throw at anyone at this time? It doesn't make any sense. You just have so many pitchers in the game today who aren't sure where this violent stuff is going, and it gets away from them.
Still get hit in the head at 95 plus, and it's going to get all kinds of fired up.
MLB postseason continues. Division series starts Tuesday. TBS has the American League. Our friends Bob Costas, Brian Anderson, Jeff Francoeur, Ron Darling, and Fox and FS1 at the National League Series. Highlights every night on MLB Network. The winners of these wild card series awaiting the teams that got the bye, so to speak, into those division series. The top 2 teams in each league under this brand new MLB postseason format. Ty France and the Mariners, long way to go, but a good start here in the 6th. Ty France base hit into center field. One change for the Blue Jays defensively. Gausman stays in. Raimel Tapia now is out in left field, so who knows, maybe Tapia was getting ready to hit for Springer, maybe he was getting ready to run for Whit Merrifield, and they've decided to take Merrifield out of the game after he got beamed.
Well, 7 runs up, there's no reason to risk it when you put an outfielder as a defensive replacement anyway.
So Merrifield, hopefully he's going to be all right. He was really, really unhappy even walking off the field. He was screaming at Diego Castillo. And again, I understand he got hit in the head. Eugenio Suarez. One thing about this 6th inning here is Kevin Gausman had a long time to sit in the dugout. It's been a long time since he's thrown a pitch. One ball, 1 strike, the count to Suarez. Back 1-2. Stays alive.
Want more postseason stats? Just ask Siri who leads the MLB postseason in strikeouts.
Kevin Gausman has 6 strikeouts. Speaking of strikeouts, Castillo watching from the Mariners dugout. Mariners bullpen working again. Off the inside, 2-2. It's Festa who's warming up for Seattle. And any pitch that comes inside is going to have everybody on edge from here on out.
Yeah, there's some tension. It's definitely creeped into this building. Merrifield super fired up.
That one punched into right field. Base hit. Suarez. Nice job of opposite field hitting for Eugenio. And now the Mariners have 2 on with nobody out. And their power hitter Cal Raleigh coming up.
That ball was out of the strike zone by a pretty good margin, and he just went out and served it in right field. He is a really good hitter.
All 3 hits in the series, same location, all to right field.
So now Cal Raleigh has gotten quiet here at the Rogers Center. Up and away from Gausman. You start to wonder whether there are some effects from having that long of a time between pitches. Tim Meza, the left-hander, did a nice job in game 1 getting loose in the Blue Jays bullpen. In the dirt, not close. 2-0.
Yeah, the same feel. I mean, that's a where Kevin Gausman was so dominant. It's just controlling the strike zone, being able to spot his pitches exactly where he wanted. Set up that splitter, and right now the splitter, the feel for it, you see it, the grip on it there, but we had not seen this early. Bigger misses.
And the Blue Jays, you got to be prepared to be decisive in these kind of games, even with a 7-run lead.
They used a lot of arms yesterday. Through 6 total pitchers.
They did. That's a good point, because the Mariners could get some positive effects even if they don't come from behind and win this game. If they force John Schneider to use his top bullpen arms aggressively here. Raleigh, a little bloop into shallow left. Tapia just in the game, will dive, and he doesn't catch it. And then it rolls away. And now Tapia's down like he's hurting.
Might have knocked the wind on that dive. He had caught this. Yeah. Looks like he knocked the wind out of himself.
Yeah. Bo Bichette is pounding at his chest as if to say.
I mean, just the jump on this. This is why we saw Tapia come into this game for Whit Merrifield. You're not going to see Whit be able to get to this the way that Tapia did. He doesn't get the catch, but you talk about the effort and the fact that his glove hits this ball.
He also slammed his face down into the turf.
No, I've dove like that, though, and it gets you right in the ribs because your chest hits first, and that impact, you can't breathe. It's scary.
Jackie Bradley Jr. was sort of stirring in that Blue Jays dugout. Tapia acting like he's going to try to stay in. We'll see.
2 left fielders and a center fielder for the Blue Jays today have had some injury issues in the same game.
You're right. Springer's hit the wall twice after getting hit by a pitch yesterday. Merrifield gets beamed in the helmet by a pitch, comes out of the game. Toppy immediately with the belly flop on the turf. Get some bubble wrap for Teoscar Hernandez.
Oh, he good. He got 2 home runs. Like nothing touching him now.
Here's Mitch Haniger. Meanwhile, bases are loaded after that bloop fell in. And the Mariners have their shot. It's the 6th inning. Haniger drove a ball to deep center field his last time up, and that was caught on the run by Springer, slamming into the wall. We did time it. 27 minutes between pitches thrown by Gausman. That's a long layoff. Mitch Haniger, a couple career grand slams. And you got the guy on deck, Adam Frazier, who told us, who Kevin Gausman told us, that's the guy I can't get out on the Seattle team. The guy who gives me the most problems, at least, he said.
And he's got a line out to the shortstop and a line drive single to left.
It's possible that this will be the last hitter for Gausman no matter what happens. With the lefty up in the pen. 1-1. In the dirt with the splitter.
And that would be a win for the Mariners. I mean, just to get Gausman out of the game, one, but get back into that bullpen that was used heavily yesterday.
Seattle had a crazy game down the stretch in Kansas City where they had a massive lead and ended up blowing the lead in the game.
The Royals scored 11 runs in an inning late to win that game.
Maybe they can turn that around here in Toronto. Seems unlikely. Fastball fouled, and now 2 strikes to Haniger, 2-2. Ninth pitch of the game coming for Gausman. Bases loaded, nobody out. 2-2. Haniger stays alive.
So Gausman has had 1 game this year in which he's walked 3 batters, no more than 3 batters. His control this year has been amazing, as we talked about. 7.2 strikeouts for every walk. Started the season striking out 44 batters before he walked anybody, and he's having a little trouble here.
Has to throw another 2-2 pitch to Mitch Haniger. Haniger strikes out swinging on the splitter. Big first out for Gausman.
A huge tunnel at bat too for Kevin Gausman. Both fastballs he started off Mitch Haniger were away, and then he throws the splitter. Watch this start away and then bend back and down, missing the bat of Haniger. This starts as a strike. It looks like the fastball that he had taken at 96 away. Turns out it's the splitter for a huge strikeout for Gausman.
That's why it's so hard to hit that pitch, because you think for 3/4 of the way this is a 4-seam fastball, and instead it's a split.
So now Frazier, he's had arguably the best at bats for the Mariners against Gausman. Bases loaded, 1 out. Takes ball 1.
As he said, I go up there looking for the split, and then I adjust to the fastball. Most people do it the other way around.
Ahead in the count, 1-0. That's a strike. Got the call with the splitter at the knees. Mariners had 2 on, nobody out in the 5th inning, only got the 1 home. They need more here. Down 8-1. They had bases loaded, nobody out. Now 1 down. Way outside, not close. Might be the biggest miss with the splitter all game.
Both hard hits that Adam Frazier has had have been on the fastball elevated, so not a surprise they went 3 straight splitters. Try to get him to chase.
Frazier against the splitter, strike 2.
Pitch is so dirty. It's where it starts. I mean, there, see that tail. And he's thrown it for a strike tonight, too.
Gosman's 2-2. Frazier, a pop-up. Right side of the infield. Guerrero wants it. He'll take it. Infield fly rule was called. 2 down. And John Schneider's coming out. He's going to go to the bullpen. Now Kevin Gosman's going to get a big ovation. The guy who was signed to replace Robbie Ray outpitched Robbie Ray here in the playoffs. All right, can't wait for those. Thanks, Zubin. Blue Jays going to the bullpen for the first time. Tim Mayza, 63 appearances in the regular season, 1 quality appearance. Pitched an inning, got 3 outs on 7 pitches in game 1. It is an interesting move. I mean, Carlos Santana is a switch hitter who has been better against lefties than against righties. But Mayza comes in to turn Santana around to his stronger side.
Yeah, 178 against lefties, 265 against right-handers. But maybe he just saw the swing he had against Gosman the last time up and said, I don't want to see that again.
And maybe he'd already decided that Mayza was going to be his guy no matter what. But instead of getting a right-hander and a lefty up in the bullpen, brings in the lefty. Gosman responsible for all 3 runners. Bases loaded, 2 down. Still 8-1. The Mariners need a big hit here from Santana, who's got a double. In the dirt, and it kicks away from Jansen. That'll score a run for the Mariners. Ty France comes in. It's 8-2. A very wild pitch. The first pitch thrown by Mayza in the game.
It's a fastball. He just overthrows it down into the dirt. Tough pitch for Danny Jansen to even be able to handle.
Impossible. How do you block that one? You're never expecting a fastball. That wasn't even close. Santana swings and misses. Scott Service was saying, look, I know the batting average doesn't look great, but Carlos Santana's had a lot of big moments for us.
A lot of the batting average for the Mariners don't look good, but they score runs.
That one is hit high to left field. Tapia going back all the way back at the wall. It is gone. Carlos Santana from his stronger side takes Mayza deep, and the Mariners are feeling like they're back in this game. A 3-run homer, and they very much are.
Yeah, they are back in this game, and this is exactly what you said about Carlos Santana. As you see back in Seattle, T-Mobile Park, fans cheering, that exit velocity 101, and Santana. What I love about this at bat too, Dave, is the fact that he saw 2 consecutive pitches, same location. First one he swings and misses on. The second one that he gets, he makes the adjustment to go down and reach it. You see that back knee get to that pitch. He just missed the same location, knew they were going to go back there. Talk about how strong he is. That's one hand he hit that out.
So now a pinch hitter for Scott Service. One swing of the bat, and the Mariners down 8-1 are right back in at 8-5. Dylan Moore is going to hit for Kelnick. Look, we'll ask John Schneider, so will a lot of other people, but I even as it was happening, Carlos Santana has been so much a better hitter from the right side.
He turned him to a strong side. That's odd.
I don't get it. Give Santana credit for taking advantage. Now Moore down the right field line, slicing away from Hernandez. Foul ball.
Oh, a weaker spot has been low and away, so I think they knew that Tim Mays' best pitch is that sinker, and you saw it on the first swing and miss. That's exactly where they were going to come at him. You don't think Carlos Santana knows that? He's such a great hitter to be able to adjust within that at bat on something he knew was coming.
So in a lot of ways, it spoils the day for Kevin Gausman. He gets charged with 4 of those runs, 5 2/3 innings. Main thing for the Blue Jays is to win and stay alive. Moore stays alive himself with the foul ball.
Dylan Moore has been a really important guy for this team. He plays the infield, he plays the outfield. He started a game at 5 different positions. He can really run.
Oh, 2 in the dirt again. Blue Jays pitchers still have to get 10 outs in this game. And now the 7-run lead is down to a 3-run lead.
Maybe we'll see Jordan Romano, the closer. He told me yesterday, I'm ready to go 3 innings.
Check swing foul. I think that's a good call. I mean, we probably would have seen him no matter what the score with the season on the line, but now that it's 8-5, I would imagine that the Blue Jays closer is getting ready for a multi-inning appearance.
And he's had 6 of those this year. They are not afraid to pitch him more than an inning.
And to your point, Jimmy Garcia is the guy in the bullpen now. Moore strikes out swinging. Garcia is usually the 8th inning pitcher. So maybe we'll see him for the 7th and Romano for a couple, as the Blue Jays are going to have to try to sweat this one out with their season on the brink. Carlos Santana gets the Mariners right back in the game with 1 swing. Kevin Gausman, who really did pitch well, couldn't believe it as he watched it sail over the wall. To 5, Blue Jays still with a 3-run lead, bottom of the 6th. Matt Festa out of the Mariners bullpen. Dylan Moore stays in the game to play left field. George Springer has stayed in the game this whole time, despite the fact that he's been beat up today. Ball 1 from Festa.
He throws that slider 56% of the time, 4-seamer 43% of the time, 64 strikeouts, 54 innings.
Hard ground ball. Suarez has it. Throws out Springer, 1 away. There is Dylan Moore. I mean, you said it, Tim. He's an important player, even if he's not starting games. He gives Scott Service so many options off the bench. Numbers for Festa. Like everybody in that Mariners bullpen, he gets a lot of swings and misses.
Well, a lot of them are that, you mentioned the slider, but it's elevating that fastball. Something he's done a really good job adjusting with.
Shed on the slider. Now Bo Bichette lined a double down the right field line his last time up. One of 9 Blue Jays hits. Teoscar Hernandez has 2 home runs, but Carlos Santana's homer has made this a ball game. Oh, 2. That one is hammered to right field. Going back on it, Haniger on the warning track for out number 2.
No fees or minimums and no overdraft fees are another reason banking with Capital One is an even easier decision than this.
We need a clutch hit. Derek. Jeter.
Hang in there, rookie.
Yep, even easier than that. What's in your wallet?
Well, 2 quick outs for Festa, even though that was pretty solid contact from Bo Bichette. Now Vladdy Jr. has been on base twice, RBI single plus an intentional walk. And the Blue Jays made the Mariners pay for issuing that intentional walk. Guerrero came around to score. 4-run bottom of the 5th. The Mariners answer with a 4-run top of the 6th. That one right back toward Festa. It kicked off either him or the mound or both, and ricocheted to Frazier, who made the play. Okay, a 1-2-3 Thursday morning, raising the flag. It's flying atop the Seattle landmark.
One of the great defensive catchers I've ever seen, Dan Wilson.
Just a great player, still a part of that community. J.P. Crawford for the Mariners, back in the playoffs after such a long wait. Great opening series win yesterday. Chance to clinch and move on to the division series here tonight. But down 8-5, 7th inning. Meza stays in. Crawford hits a foul, strike 2.
That 2001 Mariner team was so much fun to be around. Remember, Alex Rodriguez was not on that team. Neither was Ken Griffey Jr. Neither was Randy Johnson. Those were guys. They had Edgar Martinez, of course. They had Ichiro. But 116 wins. They won 90 games by multiple runs that season.
Ichiro had a pretty good year.
So early in that season, Ichiro hit a ball that bounced before the plate. He hit a line drive off a bouncing ball. I called Pat Gillick the next day and said, "What was that?" And he said, "Oh, he used to practice that in Japan all the time." He used to practice hitting a bouncing ball just in case he would ever need to do that in a major league game, and then he did.
It's like a Vladdy Sr. move.
Yeah. 2-2 the count to Crawford. You got the big hitters lined up after this. Crawford trying to reach base. Put some more pressure on this Blue Jays bullpen. Foul away.
So in spring training that year, Ichiro, just trying to get ready, hit a bunch of soft singles and things to left field. And Lou Piniella, who was a little bit impatient, said, "Can you do anything other than hit a soft single to left?" And Ichiro goes, "Well, I can hit it really hard over there if you want me to." And Lou said, "Yeah, I want you to do that." And before long, Ichiro's hit balls all over the field. Hit .350 that year.
Crawford strikes out swinging. And probably it for Meza. Stays in to face the lefty. Now with the righties coming up, John Schneider hops out of the dugout and is jogging to the mound.
Ichiro, by the way, he took care of his bats like they were gold. He said, a good craftsman never throws his hammer. I always take care of my bats.
Words to live by. Jimmy Garcia coming in for the Blue Jays. 8-5 Toronto. Trying to survive and see their team play a winner-take-all game tomorrow, which would be something to see here inside the Rogers Center. Jimmy Garcia, 61 appearances, often the setup man for the Blue Jays during the regular season. We saw him yesterday in Game 1, and he faced Julio Rodriguez, gave up a hit to Rodriguez when he came in yesterday.
And he's the guy who throws 92, but because the ball seems to come out of his shirt like Sid Fernandez used, you can't pick it up, and he can throw it by you at 92 miles an hour.
And I do want to say, I used to call him Ieme when he was pitching with the Dodgers,
right.
But I asked him, he likes to be called Jimmy, so we're doing what he wants.
Sure. So from now on, I want you to call me Ieme Kirkjian. Is that okay?
I can do whatever you want. Silent T. Jimmy Garcia out of the Blue Jays bullpen. This was once an 8-1 game. Now it's 8-5, and you get the top of the order here for the Mariners. Julio Rodriguez has had good swings all game, and what does he have to show for it? Absolutely nothing. He's 0 for 3. Takes a huge rip there, fouls it back. I don't think there's much question he's going to be the. I mean, there are some other rookies in the American League who played well. Stephen Kwan had a great year for the Guardians, who just advanced today. But
He'll
this
win,
is the
no
guy.
doubt. He'll win unanimously, and he should.
0-1. Strike 2. Home runs, power speed combination, more than solid defense in center field. 0-2. Fouled again.
Only player in Major League history to hit 25 homers, steal 25 bases in his debut season.
2 others to do it in their rookie season. One of them was Mike Trout.
Scott Service told us again today, it's amazing how fast he runs when he's that big. When you stand next to him, which, well, everyone looks big next to me, but he is a big man who could fly.
0-2. Holds up. He was not happy yesterday. He had one really poor at bat where he chased pitches out of the zone against Alek Manoah, and it grinded on Julio Rodriguez. Didn't chase this one.
He checked it.
The Mariner guys will tell you that he does not miss a breaking ball in the strike zone, and he missed a couple of them yesterday, which was very unusual for him, and I think he'll remember that.
Two and two, Garcia with the pitch off the inside. I mean, we can only speculate, but my guess is the plan is for Garcia to get the 2 outs here in the 7th, and then Jordan Romano will be the guy to take over and try to get the final 6 outs. That's just a guess. Three-two. Rodriguez strikes out swinging. Garcia got him 94.
Timmy, you talked about the fastball, and it's been the breaking ball that he'll lean on a lot, but in this one, it gets a great hitter. He uses the 2-seam, and because of that late movement, and this is more middle of the plate too, Julio even had to kind of look back like, how did I miss that? It's that late run.
It's hard to pick it up from this guy, and that's so much a part of pitching. Deception, you just can't see it very well.
So now 2 down. Ty France, first pitch swinging, right center field, not deep. Hernandez out, number 3. Garcia does his job. We go to the 7th inning stretch in Toronto in this game, now behind 8-5, bottom of the 7th. And Alejandro Kirk, who's been in the middle of a lot of the offense for the Blue Jays today, he takes strike 1.
In the Blue Jays' previous 8 postseason games, they'd scored 11 runs, and today they have 8. Now, this is a good sign for them.
This is the way. I mean, look, everybody likes to put an 8 spot on the board, but the Blue Jays especially, they're a good front running team, and when that offense gets going, tough to stop.
But for the Mariners too, they're going to look back on that 5th inning and think about the 4 free passes that were given. I mean, you felt like that inning absolutely was the game. You knew the offense was going to kick in, and the hits did. But now with the game a lot closer, knowing how many runners were given.
1-2. It was part of the story yesterday. I mean, I know that Luis Castillo and Munoz both dominated on the mound, but Rodriguez hit twice. He scored 2 of their 4 runs. So the Mariners were given some gifts, some free base runners, and cashed those in.
And that's things the Mariners don't do. They don't give runs away with their defense. They don't walk people, but that, as you said, Jess, that 5th inning was not good.
One and 2. Festa still in for Seattle. 5th pitcher of the day for the Mariners, John Schneider. Maybe thinking about how he wants to get through the last couple innings. Jordan Romano, the closer, is up. He's not yet throwing, though.
Well, they got to, if they get through this, they got to win tomorrow too. So I would think Romano would want to pitch maybe 1 inning today, so he's ready for tomorrow too, if there's a tomorrow.
He's sort of got this routine where he likes to pace around in the pen. On the ground, hard hit and past the reach of Crawford. Alejandro Kirk has himself another hit. He's on base for the 3rd time.
3rd time on base this game. He had a hit yesterday, and some of the best at bats actually for this Blue Jays team. He is so sneaky in this lineup, hitting at the cleanup spot. I know he doesn't have the build, but he has been great.
Speaking of great, Teoscar Hernandez, a 2-home run game. Both against the starter Robbie Ray, his old teammate, and both were just booming home runs. Curtain calls, the whole home run celebration. Teoscar Hernandez, who also has been hit by a pitch. The Mariners haven't gotten him out. He's driven in 4 of the 8 Blue Jays runs. He takes ball 1 from Festa. He's just super talented. Teoscar Hernandez originally came up with the Astros, traded to Toronto. And the Astros made so many trades over these last 6-7 years that have been lopsided in their favor. Teoscar Hernandez might be one that they'd like to have back. (2-0). Just missing off the outside. 3-0. Chapman on deck. He'll hit next. That's a strike. Hernandez didn't think so.
I'm still reeling from that. Kirk has more walks than strikeouts in this day and age. It's just doesn't happen.
6 players total can say that over the full big league season in both leagues. Juan Soto leads the way in that department.
Ted Williams, by the way, had 1,312 more walks than strikeouts in his career. 1,300 more.
We probably will not see that again. I'm thinking. Full count 3-2 here to Hernandez. On the ground and a diving stop. Suarez. There's the out at second. No throw made by Adam Frazier. What a play.
He is such an improved defensive third baseman. We've been over this. Perry Hill really got to him. He was a little narrow in his stance. He widened him out, and he's gotten much better. This is a terrific play to his left. This ball is hit really hard. And this is all that infield that they take every single day. 12 minutes a day. Perry Hill running it. And there's a reward.
Yeah. The defensive guru for this Mariners team has made them a much better defensive team. At least he's helped. So runner at first, 1 out. Scott Service coming out. Penn Murphy, the guy who is warming up at the bullpen. So we'll see. I think Scott's going to make the change, and he will now signal to that Mariners bullpen. So Festa comes out, and Penn Murphy will be the new pitcher. Another weapon in that very good Mariners bullpen. A guy who's really an amazing story. He was not a pitcher. He went to Vanderbilt, part of that incredible Vanderbilt tradition, and he wasn't a pitcher there.
Right. And now he's a pitcher who threw 69 innings this year in a third, 18 walks and 76 strikeouts. The beauty of this game, guys move around and figure it out. I mean, last night Alek Manoah was not supposed to be a pitcher and became one, and same with this guy.
Yeah, pretty cool. So he comes in, he'll get his pitches on the game mound. So while he warms up to come in the game, a recap of how we've gotten here. Bottom of the 7th. Teoscar Hernandez against the former Blue Jay, and Robbie Ray, who was great here in Toronto, was not great today. Hernandez took him deep twice. Kevin Gausman was really good. Ends up being charged with 4 runs. 3 of those scored after he left the game. Carlos Santana with the swing that got the Mariners back in it.
Right, and we knew Ray, giving up 32 homers this year, was susceptible of that. Missed in the middle of the plate a couple times today, and they hit him pretty hard. And Gausman, until after that long rest, was awfully good for 5 innings.
So 8 runs, 10 hits for the Jays a day after they got totally shut down by Castillo and Andres Munoz and shut out in game 1. So now Penn Murphy, who's funky and has found a home in not just a bullpen, a big league bullpen after never pitching in college. 2.99 earned run average in 69 1/3.
Right, and again, he throws 89 miles an hour, but he has figured out how to get people out. Just another reminder, you don't have to throw 98 to be really good in this league. If you know what you're doing and you have a pitch that others can't see or don't pick up very well.
So Murphy and the Mariners trying to give themselves a chance. They still have 6 outs of life on offense. So this game is far from over. 8-5 here in the bottom of the 7th. Predict which players will stack the most total bases each day during the postseason. Compete to win $50,000. Enter MLB Base Chase in the MLB Play app or through MLB.com/play. Restrictions apply. See official rules for details. They have not given up hope in Seattle. At least he hasn't. Hey, whatever moves you.
I love it.
Matt Chapman against Murphy. Well off the outside. Ball 1.
Of course, Chapman, member of the A's for years, and he told me yesterday he keeps in touch with Matt Olson. He keeps in touch with Marcus Semien, a couple Chad Pinder. They do a little chat. Nice to see the teammates from old hang around, still keep in touch.
Fouled back. I think it hurt those guys that team was blown up.
And that was inevitable, unfortunately.
Special group, though. I mean, all the offense, but even the defense. I mean, between Chapman and Olson in the corners.
And precedent for a third baseman to come from the A's to the Blue Jays and thrive. Josh Donaldson did it. There goes the runner, Hernandez. The pitch high and tight. The throw, and the tag never got there. Frazier thought he might have gotten him. Teoscar Hernandez slides in safely. Another pitch up and in to a Blue Jays hitter. Scott Servais wants a minute to check and just see.
I don't think Frazier gets him.
Nope, never quite got there. So no challenge. It's a steal. Teoscar Hernandez showing off the whole game here tonight. 2 home runs plus now a steal. Two-1. Slider for a strike. Tight to Chapman. 3-2. Danny Jansen on deck. Number Murphy kind of late to break, but he juggles the flip. Chapman stumbles into the bag. He is safe, and hopefully he's all right.
Well, he dove.
Awkward all the way around. Just sort of belly flopped right onto the bag.
Might have gotten stepped on.
Murphy, I thought he was a little late getting over there. Then the flip, he tried to barehand it to give Chapman a hit.
Soft hit ball and had to be quick here. And the toss was just to the hand of Murphy instead of the glove.
And the ball took kind of a sideways bounce on Ty France.
I don't think he got stepped on. It was close. Now first and third, 1 out for Jansen. He did give Chapman the hit. Well off the outside. He wasn't that late to cover Murphy, but just an awkward play all the way around. Jansen's got a run batted in on a sac fly, 0 for 2. Big swing and miss. Line drive, base hit left center field. Hernandez in to score. 9-5 Blue Jays.
Three hits, 2 RBIs for Danny Jansen. So interesting how they use their catchers. Kirk loves to catch Manoah, but they keep 3 catchers so Jansen can play and catch.
You're right. I was giving Chapman credit for. I was giving Jansen credit for Chapman's sacrifice fly. That is Danny Jansen's 3rd hit of the game. There's no doubt that if we have a game 3, both he and Kirk are going to be in the lineup for the Blue Jays again. Now Tapia will get his first at bat in Whit Merrifield's spot. Foul ball. Well, this Mariners bullpen today has not been as sharp as they usually are. It really has not been good. Matt Brash had his normal stuff. Sewald not even close. Castillo was erratic. Festa pitched pretty well. Now Murphy struggling. Got the call. 0-2. Up against that high fastball.
Tapia likes that pitch. We saw some good at bats yesterday from him on an elevated fastball from Castillo that nobody was touching, but Tapia was getting some contact against it.
Two on, still only 1 out, 1 run in. Dirt. Could change the decision making for John Schneider and his pitching coach Pete Walker about what to do. It's Anthony Bass now, not Romano, who's up in that bullpen. Now you got a 4-run lead.
I wouldn't pitch Romano unless you really need him, because if it goes to tomorrow, you might really need him tomorrow.
1-2. Line drive left field. That's going to be caught. Moore out there now. 2 down. Well, certainly the argument would be, if you're going to use Romano, even if it's not a technical save situation, okay, it's an elimination game, use your best guy, but maybe not stretch him to multiple innings.
Anthony Bass has had a really good year.
It'd be interesting to see John Schneider tomorrow. Espinal's had good at bats, 2 for 3. Whether Whit Merrifield's available, hopefully he is. See what that Jays lineup looks like in a winner-take-all game if we get there. Still 6 outs to go for the Blue Jays, trying to add on to a 9-5 lead. He went around. Strike one. Twelve hits now for the Jays in this game. We're only in the bottom of the seventh. Oh, and 2. Pop up right side. France underneath it for out number 3. But the Jays add a big extra run. We go to the 8th.
Don't need you for the rest of the game. You can go home. I'll take it from here. Okay.
Take it away.
Timmy's got it. Well, Ieme.
Ieme, right. Well, let's be clear. If Dave left and I had to do play-by-play, I would be the worst play-by-play guy in history because it's an art. It's a different job, and it's really difficult, and you're great at it. So,
thank you. Maybe a playoff game wouldn't be the best situation for your first attempt. Eugenio Suarez against Anthony Bass, who's in now, so no Jordan Romano for a multiple inning appearance. We still may see him in the game. We'll see. 9-5. That's the Blue Jays lead. They have to win.
And if they do, Ross Stripling had an excellent year. It's a tremendous changeup. Likely we'll see him start tomorrow.
They have not made it official.
Not official. Likely we'll see him tomorrow.
Unofficially, officially, we'll have Ross Stripling on the mound.
Against Logan Gilbert, who, if we get to tomorrow, he is a big, strong young kid who is totally fearless.
1-2 to Suarez. Outside. Anthony Bass, the 4th pitcher of the game for the Jays. Gosman 5 2/3. Meza got a couple outs. Jimmy Garcia, and now Bass. Full count, 3-2. Really, the one thing you don't want to do, leading by 4 runs with 6 outs to go, is start giving away free base runners. Got to find a way to throw a strike here. He did, but Suarez fought it off. Maybe he didn't. He got Suarez to swing anyway.
So Bass throws the slider 56% of the time, and he told me that Theo Epstein, when he was with the Cubs, told him, look, your best pitch is your slider. You need to throw that more often, and that is where he started throwing it more often. His GM said, that's your best pitch. Let's go.
3-2. Suarez down the left field line. Tapia was playing way off the line, a long way to go, and he's not going to get there. Bounces on the turf. Suarez did not hit it all that hard, but based on the outfield positioning, he found a spot, and it's a leadoff double.
Well, where have all the hits from Suarez been in this series? I mean, everything has been right field to right center, and so with this at bat, everyone had shifted over, and Tapia almost in left center field. You almost can't even see him in this shot. So even though this is a miss hit and what would have been an easy catch for Tapia, a long way to go and a double for Suarez. Always tell when it's turf too. Never see a hop like that.
Yeah, the old days here would have hopped even higher. Who knows what it would have done. So Suarez long at bat, and he reaches base. Now Cal Raleigh, who's got a walk and a hit, on base 2 more times in this game. He lines that one down the right field line, but he hooked it. Foul. Splash up against that net. Jordan Romano now is warming up in the pen.
This is where it's so difficult, especially, first-time manager. John Schneider is what lead is safe, and when do you use your closer? When do you save guys for tomorrow?
And I think you can't do any saving. I think you just have to feel like if your best guy is available, you got to win this game. But you're right, it's not easy to make these calls. Raleigh into left center field. That's going to be another hit for Cal Raleigh. Suarez around third. Tapia cuts it off. That'll hold the catcher to a single. But the Mariners on the board again. It's 9-6. Still nobody out. Back-to-back hits for Suarez and now Cal Raleigh.
Just another reminder what a good young hitter that guy is. We've seen him pull the ball several times in this series. That way, time he got a ball running away from him, he went out and got it and served it to the right spot, and it's perfectly struck into left center field.
So that prompts a mound visit, and it is amazing in this building how it can go from so loud to so quiet.
The loudest I've ever seen this building, of course, is when Joe Carter hit a home run. And not like it matters, but the minute Joe Carter hit the homer, I thought two things. The World Series is over, and this ball is going to hit me right in the chest. I'm telling you, I was in the auxiliary box. It was coming right at me at 100 miles an hour, and it checked up about 5 feet in front of me. Otherwise, it would have hit me right in the head. And they would have won the World Series. I'm so glad it didn't carry.
Touch them all, Joe. One of the all-time great moments. Mitch Haniger over top that Anthony Bass pitch. Slider, strike one.
Someone asked Joe after the game, was that the biggest homer you've ever hit? Wow. Thank God it wasn't me that asked that question.
9-6 Jays, nobody out, 1 run already in here in the 8th for the Mariners. Haniger takes the slider, and it's 1-1.
Rally Caps in Seattle.
Caps and whatever else. Use what you got.
That guy's struggling. We got sunglasses, a hat. It's not going to happen, buddy. We'll just hold it.
1-1. Haniger, strike two. And it's been a series of and a season for the Mariners of comebacks and dramatic moments. So who knows? They win and they advance. The pressure's on the Blue Jays. 9-6. 8th inning. Haniger up the middle, base hit. 2-strike swing from Mitch Haniger. 2 on, still nobody out. And the tying run is going to come to home plate with nobody out in the 8th inning. The Mariners do not go quietly. Anthony Bass hasn't gotten anybody out.
Look where this pitch is located too. I mean, you get the slider low and away. It's really where you want to locate it. But I mean, this is just reaching to try to drive this ball up the middle. A one-handed hit from Mitch Haniger. Staying with that slider.
Well, John Schneider has decided he's going to his closer with 6 outs to go. He was hoping to get some outs from Anthony Bass. He didn't get a single one. And one of the most popular players on this Jays team, a Canadian native, trying to keep the Jays season alive.
A Canadian native who throws 99 miles an hour, has saved 36 games this year, and is a wildly popular kid in town.
And it is a pretty cool entrance for the closer here. Not quite be Edwin Diaz, but they got the act down here at the Rogers Center.
Well, he's pitched his best too the last few weeks when the team really needed him most to secure this playoff spot, home field advantage in the wild card, and a lot had to do with Jordan Romano closing out games. 1.21 ERA since mid-August.
And he's had 9 appearances this year of more than 1 inning, which is somewhat unusual for a closer, but He's young, he's strong, he's a workhorse, and he wants to pitch more, not less.
He grew up about 20 minutes north of the Rogers Center, just outside of Toronto. Grew up a Blue Jays fan. And if you speak Canadian, you know it's Jordan Romano.
Right.
That's how he says it.
When you talk to hitters that face him, one of the biggest things they say is that it looks like he's on top of you. I mean, he's over 6 feet tall, but he has the most extension than any other player in the bigs. Look at this reach. 7.3. League average is 6.3. So he gets another foot as far as where he's releasing the ball. Tim, you said it, 99 miles an hour. Imagine on top of that, he's a foot closer than anybody else. It's a big reason why he's had so much success, especially with the fastball.
And you can imagine he's dreamed of this moment his whole life, pitching in a playoff game for his hometown team in front of his hometown fans. Now you got to give the Mariners credit. They were down 8-1 in this game, and here we are, nobody out in the 8th inning. They got the tying run at the plate, still 6 outs of life. Jordan Romano is going to be tested. Adam Frazier 1 for 3 today. Takes a little bit high, the slider for ball 1.
He throws that slider 52% of the time, 4-seamer 48%, and basically that's it. 2-pitch pitcher, but both pitches are very effective.
That was an effective slider. Don't see many swings like that from Adam Frazier.
He doesn't miss a lot. Look how much he misses on this one. I mean, this is a good 2 feet.
Line drive, base hit left field. Mariners are going to go station to station. The lead runner, the catcher Cal Riley, but Adam Frazier with another hit. The bases are loaded, nobody out. 4 straight hits for the Mariners.
Look at this pitch. This is up at his chin. 96 miles an hour. He just meets it. That's all you got to do. And this is kind of Adam Frazier when he's hitting well. Takes elevated fastballs. He's got that flat swing. Plops it into left field. Mariners keep rolling in this inning.
Go-ahead run is at the plate with nobody out.
And a guy who has tormented the Jays this year, Carlos Santana.
He's had 4 home runs in the last 4 games against Toronto. You go back to July, 2 home run game, July 10th.
Hit a 3-run home run earlier today. Pops the first pitch up here behind home plate. And it's just out of the reach of Danny Jansen. Strike 1. The whole game changed when Santana came up back in the 6th inning. He also might be hurt here. Yikes. Something about his leg, his knee.
Looks like his left knee. Nope.
Yeah, just twisted that left knee, maybe.
No, left hamstring.
Oh, maybe hamstring. Like. Yeah,
Ugh.
I think it's a hamstring. Oh my goodness. Well, that is a blow.
Could also be a cramp. I mean, that's what you're hoping for.
Could be.
When that happens, and the fact that he's not in the dugout yet, but it can cramp up on you, and that's usually what you do. You either pull it or it's.
He's just trying to get a sense of what's going on.
He's going to stay in.
He's trying to figure out if he can.
It's a pretty big spot here. He's got to make the right decision.
He does.
He doesn't hit the ball on the ground very often, as we know, but if he's having a leg issue.
You're not doing your team any favors if you're not close to 100%.
When you pull a hamstring, you don't stretch it. So like what makes it hurt more than anything. So hoping if you're a Mariners fan, it's a cramp.
Abraham Toro is the guy who is scrambling to, appears to get ready in case they need him. Carlos Santana, at least for now, staying in this game. Behind in the count 0-1 with the bases loaded, nobody out. And the Jays fans are getting on him, but this is not, he's not icing the pitcher. He's not comfortable. He's not faking it.
No.
Pretty good cut there. It's 0-2.
'73 strikeouts, 64 innings. Swing and miss four-seamers, swing and miss slider, and he could sure use a swing and miss here.
0-2. Did he go? No. Close. 1-2. He got him there with the slider. Strike 3. Still just the first out here in the 8th inning. We're not even in the 9th. It has the tension and the drama of the 9th, but it's only the 8th.
Beautiful job with that slider. We saw him tack with the fastball early, then back-to-back sliders. Didn't really look like Santana checked his swing in the one before this. He goes right back to it.
Pete Walker was not happy with Andy Fletcher. Dylan Moore now. That's a strike. Foul ball, 0-2.
First 2 pitches have been sliders.
Fastball. It was outside, not by much.
Always looks a little bit closer at home.
1-2. That one definitely off the outside. Adam Frazier, the tying run at first base. Got enough speed on an extra base hit to score. Foul ball.
That was a miss.
Up.
Yeah. Romano wanted that low and away. That same slot, he was throwing both those fastballs away. Missed it up and in.
Had a 1-0 15-inning game earlier today. Much different game here in Toronto. Got him with the slider. So 2 down.
This is why Jordan Romano is here in the 8th inning. This is the biggest spot of the game here, and he strikes out 2 consecutive on the same pitch, the slider. One inside of the lefty in Santana, and now Dylan Moore chasing away.
So now J.P. Crawford, 9th place hitter. You got Julio Rodriguez looming in the on-deck circle. Crawford to center field, not deep. Sprinting in Springer, and Bichette and Springer collide. The ball falls, and everybody's going to score. The Mariners have tied the game, and now Bichette and Springer are laid out in the outfield. And it's gone silent in Toronto. It's 9-9. Incredible. And you just hope that these two players are okay. Bichette is up. Springer's still down.
I've seen so many of these collisions, and they are terrifying. Every one of them. Two guys running at full speed, no equipment on. It's not football. Critical play. You got to make that play, so you can't slow down. You can't wait to see who's calling this ball. It's a tweener.
And Springer looked like he was diving. He was going head first, and that's why he's still down.
Listen how quiet it is in here.
And George Springer's going to have to come out of the game. John Schneider's already pointed. Springer due to lead off in the bottom of this 8th inning. Jackie Bradley Jr. will come in.
At least they have a bona fide terrific defensive outfielder to replace him, but that's far from the most important thing. We got to make sure George Springer is okay here.
Oh my goodness. I think they're going to get the cart instead of having Springer walk off the field. Blue Jays facing elimination, up 8-1 at one point. Up 9-5 in this inning. And now the lead is gone and one of their best players is gone. We can only hope that George Springer's all right.
Sure looked like the lower body of Bichette hit the upper body of Springer.
Maybe even the arm.
Yeah.
Arm hit his head.
Raked across the forehead. Bichette's right arm. Wow.
He saw him coming too. You saw his angle change last minute. He was going for the ball, and watch him change when he sees the Bichette is coming.
Oh my goodness. And Bichette is lucky that that wasn't a catastrophic injury to his arm. He got the go-ahead run in scoring position, and the Mariners' best player coming up, Jackie Bradley Jr., comes in to play center field, and somehow you got to regroup.
Let's hope that's a good sign. George Springer raising his arm to say, it's okay, let's win this game.
9-9. Incredible. Julio Rodriguez is not going to be pitched to. Wow, in a tie game, they're going to walk him intentionally. 21 years old, and in a playoff game, being issued the intentional walk. Not like Ty France is a slouch. He's the guy coming up.
Yeah, but you circle the guy every time in the lineup that's not going to beat you. And in this tie game, that's Julio Rodriguez.
By the way, Padres Mets on ESPN News and on the app starting now from New York. Elimination game for the Mets, elimination game for the Blue Jays. They were up 8-1, making their plans, I'm sure Blue Jays fans were, for game 3. Now trying to survive. Ty France takes a rip at that first pitch slider.
Again, Ty France is one of those guys that uses the whole field very, very well. They're giving him left center. They're giving him the left field line.
In the history of the playoffs, 2 comeback wins from 7 or more runs down in the history of the playoffs. Mariners trying to do that here today in Toronto. That's a ball. Red Sox had an incredible comeback in 2008, and then you have to go all the way back to 1929. One and one to Ty France. 2 on, 2 out. Romano, line drive, foul. Well, if you can survive this 8th inning, in the bottom of the 8th, you got the top of your order now minus George Springer, but still your best hitters lined up. But Andres Munoz has gotten up in the pen for the Mariners. It was Kirby and at one point Swanson. Now it's Munoz. 1-2. 2-2.
And how about these Mariners?
Incredible.
Unbelievable. I mean, you don't see it, as you mentioned, 3rd time ever in postseason history come back from that deficit. And what was an ugly deficit. And they just kept on picking, especially this inning. Huge 4-run inning so far.
2-2. France strikes out swinging. So Romano gets through it with the game still tied. We'll go to the bottom of the 8th in Toronto.
DeGrom, who's about to throw right there, the very first pitch of the game. Game 2 against the Padres. It's airing right now on ESPN News and the app. And then it'll be on ESPN2 at the conclusion of North Carolina and Miami's college football game. So toggle back and forth. ESPN News, ESPN2 for that series.
We know you can do it. Things are moving around. Incredible story here in Toronto. And now Scott Service is just being mean. Andres Munoz comes in after the Mariners tie the game. Here comes the ultimate weapon out of the Seattle bullpen for the 2nd straight game. Jackie Bradley Jr. will lead off in George Springer's spot. And a first pitch dropped by Cal Raleigh, that 92-mile-an-hour slider for ball 1.
Right. And of course, we saw him last night. He threw a 4-seamer at 103, a slider at 93. This is as nasty as it gets.
He threw 22 pitches to get 5 outs yesterday. On the outside with the slider, 1-1. Bo Bichette is due up next, and we hope that Bo's okay. He stayed in the game after that really scary collision that took George Springer out. This would be Springer right here. A play on which the Mariners scored 3 runs and tied the game. 2-1.
96 strikeouts, 15 walks in 65 innings. And even though he throws 100, 103, that slider is his best pitch. Just devastating.
He was talking to us earlier about how he's worked hard to throw it harder. He messed around with a slower slider and it wasn't as effective. That one is pretty effective. Strike 2.
Used to be a day when 93 was a really hard fastball. This is that guy's slider.
That's all Jackie Bradley has seen so far. Tie game, 8th inning. Got him. Out number 1.
Thing with Munoz too is he'll manipulate that slider. This one just more depth, straight down. Seen it also kind of back foot to lefties.
So now Bo Bichette, 1 out here in the 8th. And for Scott Service, I mean, you take the momentum in the game, you gut punch the Jays. So you want to keep it tied no matter what. Munoz. Ball outside, another slider. But you also have the top of the order here, so you're using your best pitcher against the best hitters for the Jays.
And this is how the Mariners have lined it up all year. They want Sewald or Munoz for the middle of the order no matter what, and he's got it again, just like last night.
Oh. Well, there we see the first fastball, and it comes in at 102. But it missed. 2-0. And Munoz, look, I mean, he's a young guy, but he did pitch back-to-back 7 times after the All-Star break, so he's coming back to health. He's a Tommy John survivor from the past. It's not foreign to him to pitch back-to-back games. 3-0. Got Vlad Jr. on deck, and after that Alejandro Kirk. All these Jays in the middle of the lineup have had much better at bats today. Did not think we'd be seeing any sort of rally cap for the Blue Jays. They were up 8-1. 3-0. Bichette not just taking. Fouled the slider back.
And I love that he's hacking on 3-0 there. That's his MO anyway. Can hit the ball out of the ballpark. Of course, it was a 3-0 slider.
3-1. Fouled away. He was just a little bit late against 102.
Now let's see if Bo goes to his 2-strike approach, which we talked about quite a bit last night. He spreads out a little bit more, and instead of having a leg kick, he keeps that front foot down. This is what Paul Molitor did so well. And he just loves to keep that front foot down with 2 strikes and try to hit a ball hard to right field.
3-2. Well, off the inside, that's ball 4. So there's a base runner and a guy with some speed for the Jays as the go-ahead run. So Zubin reminded you, we're kind of moving things around here as this game is tied late. Padres Mets now has moved over to ESPN2, so that's where you can find the start of the Padres and the Mets. Elimination game for the Mets. Elimination game here for the Jays. 9-9, bottom 8. Vlad Jr., who has an RBI single, an intentional walk, has scored a run. Power against power here. Off the inside, ball 1.
Munoz is missing with that fastball. You can see where Cal Raleigh's using a slider. He's setting up low and away, and he's missed a couple times off the plate inside.
He's not as sharp here. We saw him yesterday just come in and blow the Jays away. As not quite as sharp. Romano trying to stay warm in the dugout. We're going to see him in the 9th inning. Throw to first. Bichette dives back safely.
In his career, Munoz 7 stolen bases, 1 caught stealing. This is not a steal situation, not with Vlad Guerrero at the plate, but something to keep our eye on.
Well, like so many late inning relievers, Munoz maybe not top priority to be as fast as he can be coming to home plate. There goes Bichette. Swing and a miss. The throw, the slide. He's safe at second. So your go-ahead run is now in scoring position. Bichette gets the steal. And I do think that's all about the timing of the pitcher to home plate and feeling like you got a great chance to get there. Munoz, the 1-1. That is low with the slider. 2-1.
Remember, Vladdy had a really good swing in the 3rd inning. A very hard ground out in the 4th. Is following it, or in the 6th inning.
He squared the ball up in this game. Ground foul.
4 straight sliders, and even though there's one that's been a strike, none of them have been on the side of the plate that Munoz, Cal Raleigh behind the plate, wanted at. He's yet to kind of command that pitch. And this is one bad enough. Vlad's going to make him pay.
So long anticipated as the next great Jays player, and he has turned into a great player, trying to author the next great Jays playoff moment. It's still only the 8th inning. 1 out, go ahead run in scoring position. 2-2 on the ground softly. Crawford charges. He's got it. Throws to first in time for out number 2. Bichette goes to 3rd. Quick check in studio with Zubin.
Dave, Jacob deGrom clean top half of the 1st, struck out both Soto and Manny Machado. The game is currently airing on ESPN2. Blake Snell on the bump for the Pots.
That one just getting started. This one, who knows? We had a 15-inning game already. Now Cal Raleigh out for a chat. One thing about Bichette making it to 3rd, there's a lot of pressure on Cal Raleigh now with that slider to keep everything around home plate.
A lot more ways to score from 3rd than from 2nd. Again, given the bat to ball skills of Alejandro Kirk, there's a good chance his ball's going to get put in play somewhere.
Kirk has had great at bats in this game. 2 hits plus a walk. He scored a run. Alejandro Kirk digs in. Go ahead run at 3rd. 2 down. Munoz. That one just off the inside. The slider again, just not exactly where he wants it to go.
Arm side misses.
Just not as comfortable as last night. Not even close.
He did throw a wild pitch in the 9th inning yesterday. That one misses in. 2-0. Another slider. It's not sliding. Teoscar Hernandez, who's had the monster game, is up next. The 2-0. Kirk takes it, and that slider is in there. Strike one.
No shift in any way here. Ball up the middle's a knock. All sorts of room between shortstop and third, with Suarez playing the line a little bit more.
He can play a little deeper on the infield with Kirk. He does not run well. 2-1. Way inside, 3-1.
It's interesting for a guy who throws, yesterday we saw 103 miles an hour with the fastball. I haven't seen much of it all.
It's amazing.
All sliders.
You got Eric Swanson in the pen.
He throws that slider 65% of the time during the regular season.
And it's a great pitch, but he does not have the feel for it right now.
This is where that Seattle defense, which is so good, is now really under the gun.
Great hitters count for Kirk. 3-1. He takes strike two. Slider, and this time Munoz got the call. I don't think very often that pitch has been called a strike in this game.
Well, especially because it's barely framed up. Again, Cal Raleigh is set up low and away. It comes back up and in, not close at all.
You can hear the boos. Jays fans just saw that replay with the strike zone. Go ahead run at third, 2 down, and a full count to Kirk. The 3-2. Kirk on the ground to second. Frazier's got it, and he throws him out. The inning is over. We will go to the 9th in a 9-9 tie.
Still to come.
It's a foundational piece now back in the postseason.
Not that the fans of those teams needed the reminder, but as this game will tell you, there's a long way to go in that one. This was once an 8-1 score. Blue Jays had the lead, churning towards a Game 3 winner take all. Now fighting for their season's life. 9-9, 9th inning. Romano still in, and a swing and a miss by Suarez. So the count is 0-2 to Eugenio Suarez, who's got 2 more hits in this game. Both of them big hits. He scored runs both times right in the middle of the 2 big Mariners rallies. Got him. Slider for strike 3. Not this time for Suarez.
4 strikeouts since Romano's come into this game. All 4 of them have been on the slider. And a pitch he just threw consecutively to Suarez. This one, not a chance.
Well, the Mariners sure have gotten some big moments from the guy coming to the plate right now. Could they get another one here in the 9th inning of a tie game? Mariners win, and they're headed to Houston. Cal Raleigh with all that power. Ball 1. Fastball just off the inside, maybe a little bit low.
You know, the clincher for the playoffs was at one of the great moments in the history of the Mariners. He hits another one here, he's going to have 2 of the greatest ones in the history of the Mariners.
1-1. The high fastball got it by Cal Raleigh, who's been on base 3 times, a walk, 2 hits, 2 runs, a run batted in.
27 homers this year, 24 as a left-handed hitter. Light tower power from both sides, but this is his better side.
The 1-1 off the outside. Julio Rodriguez, like everybody in the Pacific Northwest, on the edge of his seat. 2-1. Raleigh into the gap in right center field. That's going to get down and hop up against the wall. Cal Raleigh into second with a 1-out double. And this will be interesting to see if Scott Service wants to get a pinch runner out there. That's a go-ahead run.
Well, he's got 3 catchers. This is why you keep 3 catchers if you need to run for one. But Raleigh he's your cleanup hitter. He's a great defensive catcher, but he's also the go-ahead run here.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised. I know it's hard to dump your big dumper out of the game, but it's a tie game in the 9th inning. And he's in scoring position. Mitch Haniger takes ball 1. The Mariners just continue to have impressive at-bats. Man. Haniger finished the season hot. Skies this one to center field. Jackie Bradley Jr. is there. Out number 2. So 2 down, and now, especially with Adam Frazier as the hitter, not a guy who's going to hit with a lot of extra base power, but a guy who maybe is as likely as anybody to get a base hit. 15th at bat with a runner in scoring position today for the Mariners. 2 for 4, Adam Frazier.
Frazier is,
and he pulls that one into right field. That's going to be a hit, and it's going to put the Mariners ahead. Raleigh around to score. Into second with a double. 10-9. Mariners have come all the way back, and now they're 3 outs away from moving on.
He had never faced Romano in a game in his career, and he jumps on the first pitch and rifles it down the right field line.
He jumps on a slider. Like, who does that? First pitch. I've seen Adam Frazier annihilate some fastballs. Hit him hard for base hits, especially elevated, but he went hunting slider there and got it.
Only 2 times in history has a team come from 7 runs down in a playoff game to win. And the Mariners have a chance to do it here in Toronto. Romano gets knocked out of the game. 10-9. Back right after this. Trying to pull off the kind of comeback that has almost never happened in the history of the baseball playoffs. They haven't been in the division series since that great 2001 season.
We've been playing baseball since 1903, and this will be the 3rd time if they pull this off. Red Sox were down 7-0 in 2008, beat the Rays. A's were down 8-0, beat the Cubs 10-8 in 1929.
Intentional walk for Carlos Santana, who has managed to stay in the game with the cramp or whatever was going on. Now he's going to be lifted for a pinch runner. Trammell will come out of the Mariners dugout and run for Santana.
Well, Dave, we say it all the time. Every time you go to a big league game, you might see something that you've never seen before.
This time, it's really true.
Of course, I was at that 2008 game at Fenway Park. That's not the point. The point is, this is remarkable what's happening right here.
So Adam Simber now against Dylan Moore, trying to get the Blue Jays into the bottom of the 9th inning, down just the 1. His first pitch was not even close. Mariners are basically out of their regular relievers. They have Eric Swanson still available, but it's George Kirby who is warming up in the Seattle bullpen. And a young starting pitcher who Scott Service told us, look, he's not just a long man. We don't have him on the roster just to eat up innings, whether we're up big or down big. George Kirby's in to pitch in big spots.
And that's why they use the pivot man, Matt Brash, to pitch early, and they saved Kirby for late. That was all part of their plan.
And Kirby was in the running to pitch game 3. I mean, Logan Gilbert, if there is a game 3, would have had that start, but that's how George Kirby has been.
Meanwhile, in the here and now, Adam Simber is not throwing strikes. It's 3-0. They just issued an intentional walk so he could go after more. There's a strike. If you walk more, then the bases are loaded for J.P. Crawford. Blue Jays players, fans just stunned. Fouled away.
And so are the broadcasters.
I am. So this Mariners team's got some magic going.
My dad used to always say, when you see a team do something enough times where you just start shaking your head, something's going on there. And
3-2 off the outside, ball 4. He walks him, and the bases are loaded. I mean, it goes without saying that the Blue Jays are fighting for their season here now. And bases loaded, no margin for error, nowhere to put J.P. Crawford. A matchup I think that the Mariners like.
Yeah, the bases clearing double was hit to center field that tied this game.
It wasn't your classic double. The play on which there was a collision. These Blue Jays fans so hoping to get a winner-take-all game 3.
And Adam Simber throws 86 miles an hour, not a swing and miss guy.
Got a very friendly call there from Todd Titchener. One run in the 5th. It took until the 5th inning for the Mariners to get their first hit. 4 in the 6th, 4 in the 8th, and now 1 here in the 9th. Crawford fouls it away. It's 1-2. One-two pitch. Crawford, did he go? No.
Simber only walked 13 guys in 70 2/3 innings this year. So you wouldn't think. It's a little different pressure right now.
A huge pitch here. You don't want a full count with the bases loaded, where you got to come in. 2-2. Crawford, hard hit, but on the ground to second. Espinal's got it, and he throws him out. But the Mariners go ahead. Cal Raleigh the double. Adam Frazier the double. In Toronto, the Mariners fans 3 outs away from knowing that they're going to get at least one home game to watch their team in the playoffs, ready to explode at T-Mobile Park. Down 8-1, and now they give the ball to the rookie right-hander George Kirby, who has never in his big league career pitched in relief. He's going to try to get the final 3 outs in a clinch game.
And he's had a really good year, especially for a rookie. 3.39 ERA, 22 strikeouts, 100 walks, 133 strikeouts in 130 innings. He is a strike-throwing machine.
We were talking to Kurt Casale. He said he's got some of the best command I've ever seen.
He's the kid who started at one game this year throwing the first 24 pitches for strikes.
First pitch to Teoscar Hernandez is not close. Ball 1. Teoscar already 2 home runs today. Don't even have to say what it would be like here inside the Rogers Center if he hit number 3. Blue Jays season down to its final 3 outs. That's a strike.
Former #1 pick out of Elon. He's been a big time prospect. They brought him up and he has not disappointed.
The 1-1 fouled away. Now Hernandez, the 2 home runs, also hit by a pitch with the bases loaded. He scored 3 runs. Chapman and Jansen also due up. The 1-2 is fouled back. Big rip on the 98-mile-an-hour fastball.
During the regular season, and we've seen that here. I mean, he averages about 94, 95, kicking up 2 to 3 miles an hour more coming out of the pen.
The 1-2 punched foul off to the right side. Another one at 98.
We saw Castillo throw basically as hard as he's ever thrown last night. Gausman threw a 98-mile-an-hour fastball today. And Jess, you're right. He's throwing a little harder than normal. I think adrenaline is a marvelous thing.
Another 1-2. Just off the outside. A tough pitch to take.
Someday he's going to tell his grandchildren about his first postseason appearance. How's it going to end?
What a spot. The 2-2. That one is popped up. Foul first base side. That'll make it over the net. Back into this huge crowd.
And he's got 4 pitches, 4-seamer, curveball, sinker, and cutter. So you can't just look for 2 as we have certain relievers tonight. He's got 4 pitches he can get you out with.
Hernandez, another big swing, that high fastball.
I can't sit still over here, and I have no rooting interest. I don't know how the fans of these cities take it.
It's tough. Think about how many Mariners fans have waited this long to get a moment like this. Hard hit to short. Picked clean by Crawford, and he throws him out, 1 away. So the Mariners get through the home run hitter Teoscar Hernandez. 1 out here in the 9th.
Not easily. That was 109 miles an hour off the bat. And I get it, the defense is what the Mariners are known for. The least amount of errors in all of baseball. Just 60 on the season. And JP made that look easy on a hard hit shot.
This is why they take infield for 12 minutes every single day. So they're ready for anything, especially in a spot like this.
And here's Matt Chapman. Kirby fouled back.
He had a good swing there, and he knows he's going to see a lot of strikes, so no reason to take one and get behind in the count. You see one early in the count, you go after it, and he did.
That's a strike. It's 0-2.
He's hitting the glove so far. Everything that Cal Raleigh has put up, he hasn't had to move when it comes to the fastball.
Young George Kirby. 0-2. Just missing.
99. We haven't seen Kirby at 99, and it's also different coming out of the pen. I mean, you know, you're not pitching, starting a game. You got innings. It's give it everything you got.
Here's his 1-2. And that one again toward that outside. This one missed by a couple extra inches. 2-2.
Pre-game they told him we might need you late, and sure didn't look like they were going to, and here he is.
Just 24 years old. Trying to protect the 1-run lead. 2 outs to go, and again, how do you take it? Call the ball.
Right, it's a tight strike zone, and it has been all night.
Having some credit to Matt Chapman, though. I mean, that is barely off the plate, but it is a ball. He's taken 3 in a row.
You have the guts to take it again. 3-2. He goes out there again and misses. Ball 4. So the tying run is aboard. That's a rare walk for George Kirby.
A really, really good at bat for Matt Chapman.
And now Danny Jansen, the longest tenured Blue Jays, been in this organization for a long while. He was 17 years old when they drafted him out of high school. A Wisconsin catcher, just like the Mariners manager, Scott Service. A little bit high for a ball.
3 hits tonight for Jansen. He's used the whole field also.
And Matt Chapman, you pointed it out earlier in the game, he can run.
Oh, he runs way better than people think.
Here's the 1-0. He went around, I think. Yes, he did. It's been mostly fastballs. That was a slider.
Good call.
The 1-1 off the outside. Jansen ahead 2-1. Right on the outside that time. 2-2.
That's what we've been trying to do for 6 straight fastballs. Get that corner. Missing just off.
Raimel Tapia waiting on deck. The 2-2. Foul tip. Just barely.
10 stolen bases, 5 caught stealing off of Kirby this year. If it gets to 3-2, it'll be very interesting to see what happens.
Cal Raleigh's got a great arm. Still 2-2 to Jansen. Here's the pitch. Fouled away. He went back with the slider.
Got to be careful too with Danny Jansen. 3 hits that he's had in this game tonight, all 3 coming off the slider. Even when we've seen it be a good pitch, he's reached out there, poke it in the outfield.
And he has learned to pull the ball with power this year.
He fouls that one straight back towards us. Still 2-2. Eighth pitch of the at-bat coming with the season on the line for the Blue Jays. Tying run at first, but first time by the catcher.
These fans have been standing for 3 straight innings, it seems like.
So have we.
2-2. Jansen, strike 3 called. It was not called a swing. That was called strike 3. 2 down. The Mariners 1 out away.
It's off the plate. Slider. Good few inches. I don't know if Jansen went anyway, but this is definitely not a strike, but a call that goes in the Mariners' direction.
So now it's Raimel Tapia trying to keep the season alive for the Blue Jays.
One of the Blue Jays pointed to Tapia before game 1 and told me, dark horse MVP for this series. I went, whoa.
2 down. And he swings through a first pitch fastball, strike 1, 97 miles an hour. Waiting to explode at the ballpark in Seattle. One out to go for the Mariners. Tapia, strike 2, swinging. Blue Jays down to their final strike. Eight to 1 Toronto into the 6th inning of this game. It's 10-9 Mariners, bottom 9, 2 outs, 2 strikes. George Kirby comes set. Is 0-2. Tapia to center field. Rodriguez there makes the catch. And one of the great comebacks in playoff history sends the Mariners to the division series. An incredible win.
It's one of the most remarkable games I've ever seen.
Ever. And now they get the circle going. What a crazy, crazy win. And a devastating loss for the Blue Jays.
They do that after every win. It started with a few players, now the entire team. And how about the fight of this Mariners team? First to get here, we've talked about the drought of 2 decades, but in this game, holy smokes, to be down 8-1, come back in the fashion that they did, pick up their bullpen and their starting pitcher, their offense, scored 10.
There were 10 games under 500 this year. They were left for, this is not happening. They came back, broke a streak like that, had a walk-off homer to clinch, and end up winning this game. I think Scott Service is going to have to smoke another cigar tonight.
Yeah, or something. Well, I guess when you win 14 games in a row, you start to believe and think that we can do anything. But I don't know if even the most devoted Mariners fan was thinking in an 8-1 game that they were going to come from behind and win this one.
And it's kind of been opposite of how the season's been. It's been usually the bullpen that's carried them, the offense so-so, some big hits, but this was reverse. I mean, the bullpen struggled. They gave up runs. Their starting pitcher tonight, Robbie Ray, struggled.
And a team effort for the Mariners. One of the heroes, Adam Frazier, down on the field with Coley.
Adam, we're looking right over here. The people in Seattle are looking at you right now.